Just awaiting PCE data coming through here for February. First one to come through, the year-over-year number there, 2.5% versus 2.5% expected. Slight uptick, however, for the month-over-month number, 0.4% versus a 0.3% consensus. Personal income to the upside as well, 0.8% versus 0.4% expected there. Overall, the headline number, though, in line with expectations, 2.5 versus 2.5, 0.4 there again on the month-over-month number versus the forecast 0.2 consensus, 0.3%. So more or less in line with what we continue to see on the PCE side of things. Month over month, it never really changes all that much. 0.1 here, 0.1 there, depending on what has happened since. There's the overall market starting things off on a Friday, 0.4 to the downside right now for the NASDAQ. Not liking that number tremendously, but we'll see if we can't catch a bid here. Maybe coming on the back of, more uncertainty as far as tariffs are concerned. We'll hopefully learn something more today. Auto tariffs coming in beginning of April and then throughout May as well. We'll touch on some of the auto names. Lululemon reports downside in a pretty big way here. IPO today for the first time in as long as I can remember. It's been quite a while. I mean, do you remember what the last one was? I was thinking this morning. I can't even remember. But CoreWeave coming to market today. CW, what is it? CRWV.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's going to be hopefully on the How to Trade show during the midday. Joseph and I will cover that for you. Usually they come out around that time. Quite exciting for that, but it looks like it's coming out at the lower end of the range. We were expecting a price of around 47.5. This morning we learned it was going to be about 40. So not as much demand as one expected, Brendo. Lots to talk about today. Tesla in focus again, getting the better the better look here with respect to tariffs. Also crypto in focus. AppLovin getting shellacked yesterday on a new short report. 3 different reports about that. Apple and Meta also may come off a little bit better off with the Digital Market Act fines. It looks like the EU may not fine them as much here to not raise the ire of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at Meta. It's not really doing a heck of a lot on that, but we'll keep an eye on Meta throughout the morning here. Oracle downside as well. There was a DoD announcement that came out there just before we came on at 8:30. So Oracle leaking a little bit here in the pre-market. There's Lulu, 11% to the downside right now. I mean, the forecast was kind of weak. Overall numbers really not terrible as far as that is concerned. ORCL, just hearing as well. Yeah, day lows. There's day lows right now, 2%. For Oracle, lots and lots to consider here this morning, guys. It's worth noting Michigan sentiment coming up at 10 o'clock this morning as well. Also inflation related.
Yes, sir. And well, Lulu not looking good. That Oracle doesn't look very good either, by the way. Only down a couple of points, but
yeah, I missed that.
You don't want to lose any government contract. But Lulu, what are you going to do? You guide poorly. You flat bottom break it. It wasn't a huge move on in PCE, but I think we're at that point where earnings and tariffs probably matter a little bit more to the market than what we get from inflation, which we kind of know what's going on. We haven't had a crazy surprise number in a while in that regard, which is fine. Tesla, it just keeps on. What is that, Wick? Just keeps on doing this dance. Like we're right back here at 80. I didn't expect that to happen. I didn't expect the Jays to give up 6 home runs on opening day. They sucked. But I also didn't expect that you'd be back underneath the 280 level when we left yesterday in the morning. So that's right back into play for sure. There's a lot of gappers and runners this morning. So there's some small cappers in play. LXRX is probably going to do $1 billion in volume today. So that's going to be on my watch for the first time. I haven't started the day with a penny stock on the watch for myself, but it's done 76 million pre-market. It's up 100%. So that can hold VWAP. That looks pretty interesting. Yeah, a lot to look out for here. Unfortunately, the Jays are 0-1, but the good news is it's a long season, and my Spartans play tonight, so that should be a good one.
Okay, good, yeah.
Sweet 16, man.
Yeah, that's the thing about baseball.
I love the tournament. It's just the excitement level. Bama managed to get through, but
yeah, Duke won right easily.
Duke handled business.
Yeah, I started watching a little bit of that one. I'm only watching it for Cooper Flag. I don't know. I got to find out.
We're not getting them. We might take.
I know. We're not getting. He's getting first overall.
There's that 7-footer they have, and we could be.
I know. I saw a couple other guys there. We're definitely not getting Cooper flag, but okay, down there, down to 15-minute chart here on Bitcoin. Bitcoin not good today, down to 85,000. I mean, it's still fine. Obviously, as we look at this, you can even look at it a little bit longer time frame right here. Still trying to make sure we hold out for this 82 area. I don't know, downside move here. It's you know, these tops aren't getting broken. If anything, we're making lower highs right now on Bitcoin, or just over the last 24 hours, or last week, I guess. This goes back here. What day is it today? 28th. Yeah, so that's the 25th, Monday, where we started. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then I guess this morning. So yeah, we are starting to push a little bit lower on BTC. So we'll have to watch out for that. You know, I do think that there's going to be some buyers if we ever get into 84,000. So let's pay attention to that level for BTC. And we'll look at some other coins as well as we go. But yeah, I was just looking at Apple today, down 1%. And that's kind of at a ledge here as well where we could break. So trying to accumulate. Breaking back down below right now, that could be Apple. So we'll have a look at that here today as well. Wait for something to happen. But that 221, I don't think, you know, we break that downside. But again, the market's just teetering a little bit here. So I don't know. The only other name that I was sort of looking at right now is, look, we have CoreWeave written down, right? We're going to hope to be able to hit that. But at the end of the day, Intel maybe, just the way that's been going, you know, that's pretty easy trend as well. So I just think in short after that number, so I was waiting for that before we really committed to an idea.
Yeah.
So
what was up with Intel in the afternoon though? That was weird. Like, because
go
everything else was going down in the after. I was just looking at charts in between. I always look at charts between innings. But like when the market was sort of trending down, like it actually held pretty well.
AMD kind of closed near the highs. I didn't realize that Intel move was that.
But the key thing is like it then bull flagged and then you're right back underneath. So I'm wondering like that level here.
That's what I mean. I'm not really seeing
23
anything
and a
too
half.
clean here.
Oh, Palantir. Well, we'll get to all the names out there. Palantir did an interesting move, losing the 50-period moving average. So kind of did a topping tail candle after that rally yesterday. So it's back under. That could be in play as well on PLTR. So yeah, I like this. It tried to break down early and then did like a topping tail and then close underneath. So I like 90 to 91. Did I hear SMCR as well? SMCI?
Well, I just said super micro. I mean, they were up a couple percentage points. I don't even know what they are right now. Yeah, they're still up a little bit there, still up 2%. So I was going to say, like, for a long, maybe super micro, that the chip names have been beat up for a minute. So they're announcing, well, we'll talk about this, trading higher pre-market in new single socket servers. Duh. So yeah, so right into there. I have no idea what that means, but right into here, I think 30, 33, 34, like you get into there, you know, with good news, maybe we pop up a little bit there. So yeah, I think SMCI, even where we are right now, is probably fine to look for a long. Yesterday's low right there, I closed 34.80. So, you know, you're well in the pocket. Yeah, right now, I don't know, not really getting too much. I mean, Tesla, these are the levels that we had looked at before, 276, 272. So I don't know. Something about more tariff stuff with China, but Chinese state media reporting something here, but we'll get over to that, waiting for April 2nd. But anyways, there it goes. Tesla right now was nicely up as well, but look what's been happening here since the NASDAQ's been coming back a bit. So yeah, lots of names here today. I mean, as Brendan sort of started off and led us to the fact that there's many things happening. And then at 10 o'clock, I was gonna look many things. You know, the greatest of many things today. We are going to look at it was 10 o'clock was Michigan consumer sentiment. So that should be another thing as one of many things. And then, this could be the greatest trading day of all time.
And whether or not CoreWeave opens up before or after the midway point in the trading day. Because I have a simple beef with the IPOs, and I'm just open it so that you have more than 50% of the trading day.
Right.
If it opens up after half the day is done, I feel like the market's failed a little bit, and it shouldn't be this hard. What are we doing here? Be better. You used to open these things up at like 10:30, and it would be fantastic. You let the opening range happen. But I think I don't know how much I like that one. Like, look, we'll probably look if they defend the bid and if there's a nice good level off the open right away. I like that usual open long on any kind of a big IPO. But yeah, there's some concerns with that IPO for sure.
Well, I mean, it's the
Josh
space,
Brown
right? I mean, their biggest
consumer
customers are Microsoft and
all the
Amazon and exactly.
And they only right now lease out the H100. And obviously that is no longer the best. and it won't be for a little bit. So they're going to have to refresh. Anyways, we'll get to that a little bit later. But it's nice to have a good IPO out there. We'll get Klarna at some point this year. We'll get Discord, maybe, who knows. But for now, CoreWeave is what we got. Gentlemen.
China note. Yeah, it just said they were going to respond accordingly with countermeasures for the April 2nd deadline coming from China there. Nothing really moved on that, though, so just keep that in mind. You and I were talking about Nikola before Michael Noss is here. He's going to jump on in a second to tell us about dilution. So maybe Mr. Noss will tee you up with a story on Nikola this morning, who made its debut on the OTC. Actually popped into the close yesterday, I noticed. But Trevor Milton getting a full pardon from President Trump.
Wow.
Went to jail for lying to investors.
Yeah, I see that.
That was kind of quiet yesterday.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of these pardons, Brendo, have been a little bit of hush-hush. You don't want to make too much noise about it. Yeah, it's a tough look. I've been keeping an eye on Nikola, Brendo. It's on my EV watch list every day. It's dropping a little bit more. You see like the volatility in that name daily. But Trevor Milton, as you mentioned, the founder of the bankrupt, and what they do is a hydrogen electric truck maker. Is that the one that pushed it down? Was that Workhorse?
Yeah. Oh, that was Workhorse.
That was Workhorse, yeah. So same business, convicted of fraud and pardoned by press.
And I was reading before we came on here this morning, this company was valued at $30 billion at one point.
Ouch. What's it at right now? It was 8.835 million.
Yeah, it was when it went to the OTC, it was 40 million.
Oh boy.
30 billion to 40 million. So anyway,
oh boy.
As mentioned, Mr. Noss is here to talk a little bit about dilutions. We've had a few over the past little while here, the latest being from GameStop. So whenever you're ready, guys, just there he is. Happy Friday, Michael Noss.
Happy Friday.
We're going to do a little lesson here on exactly what that means. I mean, I think a lot of people have heard this story before and have seen how it plays out as far as price action is concerned and how charts look after the fact. But break it down for us here. We'll use good old GameStop for an example.
Yeah, and the reason for this in the first slide there is just a tweet I put out yesterday. You know, people who follow me on Twitter knows I might do a little ribbing of the meme stop kind of cult members. So, you know, I was just talking about, okay, who are we blaming this time? And you can see there's a lot of comments there, and there's actually a pretty good discussion down below. And a couple of people said they didn't understand what the dilution was. So I figured, it's like your old teacher said, that if somebody asks a question, there's probably a bunch of other people who don't fully understand what's going on when a company dilutes and what that looks like and kind of how harmful that can be. So we're going to go through that a little bit. I've got some, next slide here is just some graphics I have from, I took these from Investopedia, shout out, a great place to learn about these concepts. But the idea is that every company has a float. And if you look at it in this case of, there's 2 shares out there and 2 people own them. Well, they each own 50% of the float. Now, a lot of people know they talk about floats because low float stocks can move way faster than high float stocks. And it basically just means because there's less out there circulating. Things like MLGO trading 100 times the amount of shares that exist over and over again just shows that the lower and the tinier the float it is and the smaller the company, just the less money it takes to move that. But what happens, and if we go to the next slide, what happens if the company dilutes shares? Well, now essentially the guy who owned half the company, both of those people owned half the company, they're only now own 25% of the company. So the same thing, they owned the same thing, they were minding their own business, and all of a sudden the company came along and said, we need money, and we are going to sell shares to the public in order to get that money. And if you own 50% of the company before, you now own 25% of the company. And this cool thing is that we can actually chart this out a little bit. So the first chart I have here, I'm going to leave this as a mystery chart, but this is what a good company looks like. And people can guess what it is in the chat. I'll tell you guys at the end of the little presentation here. But you can see over time in the beginning, when the company was new, it had diluted shareholders, and that's why the shares go up. So this is just a chart of how many shares are outstanding. So as it goes up, it means they're issuing more and more shares to the public because they need money and they need to raise money. So we'll look at what the stock price did then as well. Then eventually the company became very profitable, and it did the opposite, and they started to buy shares back from shareholders. So what ends up happening is that the shares that you own are now worth more because you own a large percentage of the company. Now here's one that did the opposite. So here's AMC, and this is the textbook one that you don't want to be involved in, because you can see all of the dilution events, right? As the price is moving lower, the company is issuing more and more shares. It's to the point where if you own 10% of of AMC before, you now only own 1% of the company, because they have gone from 40 million shares outstanding to 400 million shares outstanding. So say you're someone that you went in a coma and you own 10% of AMC during the short squeeze, and you woke up now, you only own 1% of the company, and the company is worth much less, because it just makes sense. If you're going to flood more shares out into the market, that creates a whole lot of supply. In this case, 400 million shares worth of supply. Now, the mystery chart, we'll go to the next slide here, that was Apple. Right, so Apple is done, and this is a famous story that you can actually read about. I think with Carl Icahn sat down with Tim Cook and said, you know, you've got a lot of cash, I want you to start buying shares back. Turned out to be a great idea, because this is a long-term chart of Apple where it's gone from $13 to $230 split adjusted, and they've been buying back shares all the time. This is a way that you can return money to shareholders. So just like a company that floods their float with stock like AMC and 10x's their float over a period of time to raise money, this is a company that shows good health, because they're like, well, we don't need to do that. Instead, we'll buy shares back from you. So just by being a passive investor in Apple, your position in Apple has grown, even if you haven't bought any more shares. That's the idea behind it. So last but not least, here is GameStop, and this is why it got hit so hard yesterday. So a lot of people trying to figure out what exactly happened to GameStop or hit so hard recently is because after the kind of meme stock craze, they are still a money-losing company, and they have to get the money from somewhere. So they're getting it first initially slowly over time, and now pretty quickly from shareholders. So I don't know if this chart includes the last dilution event, but the other one is going to take place as well. And you can see not as egregious as AMC, which is why it's holding on, but still quite a bit.
They literally
so
start
kind of the main
every year.
takeaway here is that we're all looking for, the main thing that we're always hunting for when we're trading is we're looking for places where we think there will be more aggressive buyers than sellers. And that becomes really hard when the company itself is an aggressive seller. So, you know, you can take these, you can chart these out. This is just on TradingView. You can just put in float and it will chart out the float. So try to look for companies that if you're trying to hold for long-term trades that are at least not diluting. So a flat line to maybe they're actually buying shares back. That's fantastic. Again, any time they need to raise money because they can't do so through normal business, that's where I think you have to be a little bit worried.
Sharif and I were just saying literally the same thing as you were there. It's not by coincidence that every single one of those offerings happen at the very beginning of the year. And the simple fact that if you don't have revenue for operations, you got to get money somewhere.
Yeah, you have to fund your operation. And you know, I've heard the whole talk of GameStop turning into a hedge fund. That's a whole nother chat we could have about why pay 3 times as much than they have in cash for a hedge fund. But until they do something like that, they still have these stores and they still have employees and they still have to pay rent and they still have to pay light. So they're losing money over time. And unless they can turn that around, and I don't think holding something like Bitcoin, which doesn't have any income from it, is going to turn something like this around. But again, it's just one of those, it's not financial advice, I'm not your dad, but just this is one thing where you just should know who's selling the stock, right? And try to shake some people loose of some of the, oh, it's getting shorted and that's why it's down so much. No, it's the company is selling millions, and in this case, hundreds of millions of shares to you. So if you're holding them, they're just taking basically percentage ownership of the company from you.
Great way to understand price action on a different level. Anyways, market structure lesson to wrap things up for Friday. Michael Noss, have a great weekend. Have
a great weekend. Talk to you Monday.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I heard a rumor Michael maybe was going to do that chart with Mullen, but then it would have just blown up the entire thing.
Yeah,
so he used AMC instead because
Interviews Mullen.
You know what? To be honest, it wasn't as extreme as I was thinking. Like I actually thought that it would look a little bit more extreme on Dilution. Not that it's good, and it is a bad thing. And I think that's one of the things you have to keep in mind. Like obviously, GameStop took it on the chin today, but there's another thing to consider with Dilution and offerings that I think is at least a little bit prescient. What was that PR something? Anyways, there's a few small cappers running. What was the one you guys were just talking about in the chat?
LCRX or something?
Well, LCRX was the penny one I was looking at, but there's another one going. You know what? It doesn't matter. We can talk about this.
Wolf?
Wolf, LCRX. You know what? It almost doesn't matter. Wolf, I think, can be a good example. But any small cap, one of the things when you're trading them, we talk about day trading because we're day trading. Some people like to swing trade these small cap, micro cap companies that have gapped higher and are starting to go. One of the important things before you hold it overnight, have they already filed and can drop an offering at any point?
Right.
Or would they, if they get a ridiculous increase in price, would they have to actually do the paperwork and do the filing, and then they couldn't drop one on you overnight? The process takes a little bit of time. That's an important thing if you're holding overnight. We don't when we're trading these penny stocks or any small cappers, so just always be careful because you don't want to get rugged in the moment. Like you saw what happened to all this PRGT. And is it PRGT or is it PGRT? All right. PRTG. There we go. That's the one. This is one, it's done like 9 million shares, it's gapping up, all that good stuff. Like I'm not saying that they're gonna do an offering or anything like that, but whenever I see a chart like this, it should at least be in the back of your mind if you're swinging it. Reverse split, dump, reverse split, reverse split. This actually looks like it might have just been a real catalyst moving. Yeah, and it's running today, you're seeing it break out. I get it. These things will make traders money, no question asked. But you do have negative catalysts of reverse splits and dilutions, which often will happen with these. So just always be careful when you're holding them in the long term, that's all. Longer term, I should say. Most people probably wouldn't hold that in their retirement account. Let's be
RTG?
real. Well, I don't know, but probably not.
I don't know. People do weird
You never know.
Yeah, no, thanks, Michael. I mean, we had that discussion yesterday about GameStop there, and I was sort of saying something similar to that, and just that I thought that was really kind of a crazy move and not very, I don't know, the integrity. I mean, they can do whatever they want. As they say, they need to raise capital, and it's allowed to do it. I just thought it was very strange to do it the day after earnings, especially when the stock had rallied a little bit and people had got their hopes up for GameStop, and then all of a sudden down 25%. And I mean, it is, like Michael said, they've done it before. It's part of operations. So all good. Look, man, like CoreWeave, Intel, the NASDAQ, I'm trying to figure out some more things to trade here. I don't know. I feel like it's going to be a little bit of a slow open, which is why I think that we're trying to talk more about some of these, low float names. But the thing about it is there's always stocks that are getting upgraded and downgraded, right? So Let's go over to the screen and figure out what Adair's got on tap for us.
There's some very interesting ones here. Applied Materials getting an upgrade here from Jefferies Financial. Ferrari upgraded by Barclays, up about 2% here. We've got Camden here with a Citigroup upgrade, and Alcon slightly down in the day, but getting upgraded by Needham. The downgrade side of things is where I think we get pretty interesting. Robinhood here down about 1% with a Needham downgrade. They lowered their price target from $70 to $62. Lululemon here, of course, down on earnings, but also getting a downgrade here from Telsey Advisory Group. Oxford here with a downgrade from Telsey as well. Last but not least, TFI International getting downgraded here by TD Cowen. So quite a few names to talk about today, guys.
Yeah, Hood's chart doesn't look very good. They slapped a downgrade. It just broke yesterday's low. This could be interesting. I mean, there's a lot of things that look adjacent to this kind of a setup where you probably are looking at a little bit of a flat bottom break with a tiny bit of a gap to fill in there. And say tiny, that's like $2 on Robinhood, so 5%. Room to run. I mean, at this point, with the market down 0.5%, the other thing about Robinhood, double top off the 50 period, like these kind of stair-step down situations, they don't usually resolve themselves very well. Another name that looks not very good, that Oracle. I don't know if we showed the Oracle daily chart, but Oracle, if Oracle loses 140, like this stock could really head down. This is, and one of the other reasons I bring it up, it's like this is another one of those companies. Like I have been in this stock forever, and it's like why? I don't want to buy any more of it. So why do I need to be in it? I think I'm just gonna throw an old. If we lose that level, get it all out, because I don't think we're out of the water, and there's nothing wrong with raising even some more cash. Sold a bit of TD Bank, and I think if Oracle loses that support, I'll just get out of this one for good. I've held it for a year. I can't even remember how long I've held this stock. For a very, very, very. It was one of the four horsemen. Long time.
Yeah, Oracle's a big one. All right, so no, I was looking at Robinhood there. So this is the one for me, just looking at it there. We had written down on the board that it was only down 1%, but obviously it's just been hit right now recently. So much bigger move than we had thought early. There it goes. Nice break there of 44 yesterday afternoon. Held it pretty much into the close, so that's fine. And then this morning comes right up to 44 again, and then whooshes down. So, this name back to VWAP, back to the 50, back to the 200. Anything in this area here for Robinhood today, I think was going to be a short. It's just coming in. I just think that there's going to be, again, Robinhood's not going to be a tariff name or anything like that, but at the end of the day, I think there's going to be some nervous hands heading into the weekend. And with April 2nd is Wednesday, so, you're going to have a couple days next week, could sell off a little bit more. Nice move back to the upside. Base bounced perfectly off the 50-period moving average. So 200 to the 50, that's perfect. That's kind of like what we were waiting for with JP Morgan. But you still didn't even get down to the 200 yet. So this name could still come back in. I mean, this would be one that we've talked about it, trying to get some money into. So as Robinhood comes back in here today, hate to pick on the name because I do like it, but I think a 44, 43.75, something like that, in and around here short, especially if we get a little bit of a bump early. I like that trade. Energy name, so Occidental, sell side right here. As we've seen, energy has been really a strong point here in the last couple weeks, right? So Oxy just down, and not that it means anything. It's Friday, right? So there's going to be a couple mini rebalances that happening every Friday. So QBTS, AMC, because you do have the weeklies expiring and things like that. So anyways, Occidental downside. XLE, oil's been working. Gold again today, by the way. Another day that I was looking at it, there's XLE is flat on the morning. But gold here, 283, 284, up again today is gold. This is just running. So shout out to Sebastian, everybody, who we talked about gold a little bit yesterday in the recap show. And then silver up again right now. Silver looking to take out.
Go too.
Yeah, it's trying to take out its highs right now as well on the daily. So that's silver looking at its highs. What a move, man. 26 to 31.50 in 2 months. That's nice. Silver up again. So if you're worried about some of the market, the S&P down 3, NASDAQ down 0.3, down half right here. So yeah, some strength in the metals.
Weakness in China, I was just noticing as well. We'll get to that. We'll talk about a few of them anyways coming up here. But yeah, Tesla higher, basically everything else I'm looking at red to start things off here this morning, which might not bode too well for Friday.
No, it doesn't feel like it's a positive day, Brendo. I think that the overhang of the auto tariffs continue to persist, and the uncertainty that comes with that. Obviously, we'll have to wait exactly see which companies fare better than most. But should we have a look at futures? All right, guys. Yesterday on the ES, a June contract, we closed out just 1 point below that 57.40, 57.39 is the closing print from yesterday, with the overnight high not being much higher than that, 57.47. The overnight low defending 5700. So we're locked in about, a 40-point range. If we can clear 47, which is the overnight high, essentially that 50-point area, we're looking at yesterday's high at 57.75 as resistance. If we continue to bleed, we're looking at 5700 as support.
As always, if you haven't done so, jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will take you to the sign-up page for the watch list. All you need is your email address then, and then you get that sent to your inbox every single morning. We do your homework for you and just send it to you. Let's start with Lululemon this morning. I'll never understand this. They forecasted downside, so the stock gets crushed.
Yeah.
Have you been to a Lululemon of late? Because every single one I ever pass, it's still, there's people waiting outside because they're so busy.
I was just about to say that. You can't get in.
No.
And if you get in, you got to elbow your way into the close, Brendo. So
it's one of those things. I think if you raise your expectations high enough, and then the guy still doesn't meet that, then okay, I understand. But anyways, there's a ton of analyst moves this morning. Most of them on the positive side. So any green number you see over here, is either a maintain or even a price target increase for Lululemon this morning. End of the day, it comes down to the forecast.
Absolutely. This could be a buying opportunity. They've been very strong lately. Let's see how they did. So with respect to how they did on the previous quarter with the previous year, EPS, everything beat. Q4 EPS beat, revenue beat, beating on the top and bottom line. Full year 2024 revenue also was up 8% year over year. They took home more money. $748 million was their profit, Brenda, almost $1 billion in profit. Strong international sales, but that's where it kind of all falls apart. U.S. traffic remains soft. Oh, let's talk about the guide here. Q1 revenue guide, lower than expectations. EPS lower. Full year 2025 revenue guide, full year 2025 EPS guide also lower. Gross margins expected to fall, Brendo, because of the FX headwinds, tariffs, and higher fixed costs. So we'll have to see how that all does. The stock reaction was quite aggressive, as you mentioned there. 10% drop. Guidance misses signals. Margin pressure. A cautious consumer and macroeconomic risk. And here's how they did. I guess I missed that one.
That's okay.
Yeah. So basically, here's the deal. Comparable sales up 3% year over year. U.S. sales, as I mentioned, weak, were basically flat. And the growth is shifting to overseas with a healthy increase there.
Yeah. I mean, I still come back to the simple fact that foot traffic alone, and I think that makes up a lot. I mean, the e-com side is a big part of it also. But foot traffic alone is still crazy for Lululemon, guys.
Well, I think maybe Nike might have given you a hint at how things could look for the next couple of days for Lulu, because Nike gapped down. Similarly, the guidance was the issue. They're not exactly the same, but I think there are some parallels with what's going wrong for them, for both these companies. Again, they're not the same, I get that. But you drifted down on Nike after the earnings, and it did a pretty hefty reversal candle off the open. Got into what ended up being a double top, and then you make that top and you kind of resume the short, and it got right back into the low. I think if you see that kind of a pattern, like see the V shape, and then on, I guess it would be Monday, Lulu were to come in and not break it out, you look for the trend back in. By the way, Nike has held this double bottom and a higher low yesterday. So Nike, at least in the short term, looking a little bit better there. So Lulu, it might already be doing this a little bit of a bounce. But the key thing on the daily for them is this 300 area. It's not, a $300 stock with a big spread. It's going to be a couple bucks in either direction, but you can see prior support there. If it holds that at the open, I'd be looking for it to do that push up. Conveniently, you have the 200 period, and you've got 310 to 313 in there. If that holds, I think you look to short off that. And then also the next couple of days to follow the Nike pattern. That's the only thing I'd look for. I'm not going to trade it at the open. But if I see it rally into this prior low or into the 200 period moving average, yeah, you play that afternoon short, and then hopefully again it does what Nike did and just gives you the same trade the day after.
Yeah. So I told the story yesterday, actually, and it was a little opposite of what Brendan was just saying there. When I went to Lulu to return something and walked right up to the cash.
There's nobody there.
And it was completely dead. But that was at Sherway, and I know that, different malls are different. But yeah, I think that we learned a little bit from Nike, right? I mean, Nike got hit to the downside. So for me, I was just looking at 315. Right there for the short. So I just thought if we can come back into that level there, the 200 period moving average, maybe there would be something in and around that level. I know Mr. Westermeyer, you asked about that, and I sort of said 315. So that's what I'm looking at. I mean, just looking at the stock from yesterday, it's not going to give you too many levels. But if you just go back a couple days, maybe into here, 320. I mean, that looks kind of back into there right now. So yeah, I mean, I think that these are reasonable areas to go short. So in case you get that move up, again, it's SSR, right? That's the other thing. So right now you're going to be short sale restricted when we open up. So you're not going to be able just to hammer the bid. You're going to have to get short on the offer. So I could see some people maybe covering. And again, Lululemon's expected move yesterday was 8.5%. So you're now extended through that. So to quote our friend Danielle Shea there when she was talking about it, when you outperform the move, that generally there's a continuation. So I would say short for today, not looking long. And we could even break that bottom, 296. Like, we're not too far away. Remember, it's a NASDAQ name, so when those imbalances come out, it's pretty thin right here. You know, like these are just a couple hundred shares lining this bid down all the way to $300. So you could lose $2 or $3 and then all of a sudden you're right back into this area. So I don't think we get the bump, but if we do, 310 to 315 is sort of where I would build the position and then exit at 315. And then, hey, if it goes to 320, you can reload that. I don't know, not as confident here today to say let's hold this all the way back up $10 against you, right? So we'll wait. Never want to go against the trend here. Short sale restricted, may give this a bump, and then we go short around that, 312 to 315 area.
Let's go on to CoreWeave. We have an IPO to look forward to today. CoreWeave coming after the market yesterday, pricing this IPO. Downsized, 37.5 million shares, $40. There was a time they were talking about this possibly being 50 billion, and then it was like 40, 45 billion, and now we're all the way down to basically 30. I think, what was it, 28, I think was the final number, that the actual notional value of this.
Actually, it's about 19 now, Brendo, believe it or not.
So even lower. So, I mean, this thing has just stair-stepped all the way down. But anyway, 250 or 250 million of that, NVIDIA is going to pick up.
Yeah, I got comments about this, but let's talk about the details of it. So CoreWeave, their IPO is priced at $40 per share, below that expected, as Brendo mentioned, $47 to $55 range. The company raised about $1.5 billion, making it the largest U.S. tech IPO, Brendo, since 2021. The total amount of shares sold were cut, actually, from 49 million down to 37.5, which resulted in the reduction of the valuation to about 19 billion, down from that potential 26.5 billion. It's going to trade under ticker CRWV. Hopefully we'll have that for you on the How to Trade Midday Show. What they do, Breno, is they provide these NVIDIA GPU powered cloud infrastructure for AI workloads and training. So basically, they rent out NVIDIA's GPUs and servers to those who don't want to buy them. Revenue surged about 700% year over year to about $2 billion, but the company posted a net loss of $863 million, giving you the idea that it is capital heavy here, whether or not it's profitable. The clients include Microsoft, Meta, IBM, and others, with about $11.9 billion in contracts, specifically with OpenAI as well.
Yeah. Given the current state of the IPO market, I mean, in the past, specifically with a tech IPO, you typically want to see the momentum and the chatter and the excitement growing and getting more and more as you get to that day. Not necessarily going the opposite direction. That being said, it's been a while, guys, since we've had decent tech IPO.
Could be.
So I think we all know the deal with the IPOs, and I don't know that this is not one that I'm looking to buy. Like, I don't want to own it. I know when ARM came to market, that was a stock I knew I wanted to own in the long term. I can't say that that's going to be the case here with CoreWeave, right? So the boys went over the business, what they do, obviously the attachment to NVIDIA, and we talked about how they use the older, their H100, the older chips. All I really want to look for is get an indication of how high it's going to open up. Like, if it's not going to open up in the hundreds, just to give an example. I would not want any part of an open trade if it's opening up at like 100. If it's opening 20, 30% higher, maybe maximum 40 like, if it's way too far from the issue, then I don't want it. And a lot of times we're going to get, like, on our locator, you'll see, like, at the open, it's going to be all the stuff in the pre-market. But after the open, it'll be a couple of halts here or there, and then it'll be CoreWeave. And you'll see the size and the pair volume start to creep bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually they get an equilibrium and it opens up. So that'll give us an indication. We'll have an indication as to where it's going to be opening on the way. And then the plan of action will be, I'm just going to throw out 50 because it's easy. If it's indicating it's going to open up at, say, like 51 or like 50.70 or 51.20, all I'm going to do is have an order ready to go. If there's a massive buyer just obviously throwing it in there at 50 even, I want to go long in front of them, and I'm going to take a scalp long. That's the plan of action. They break, I'm gone. And I want it to be obvious. That's the plan. I have no idea when they're going to actually open the stock, but we'll always have an indication based on the imbalance locator. Because until you start to see a big paired number where there's a bunch of open interest and an equilibrium gets met, they're not opening the stock. So usually you can just monitor this for a while. You get indications too online that you're getting close. I don't expect it to happen in the morning show because, Sean, I can't remember the last time we had a major IPO that wasn't on the midday show, to be honest. It's been a while.
Yeah, I hope it happens because we want to be here to trade that. That's for sure. The last one, I mean, I don't know. I just thought about it. Brendan asked about one. I just thought about Service Titan. I mean, that just came in December, which, you know, again, saw commercials for this on TV. It's not going to be the valuation of a CoreWeave or anything like that. But just to give you an example of what happened there, was relatively muted on day one. It does open up at I think it was $100.50 or so, goes to 105, breaks, it goes back into 100. So a little bit of action there. Then the next couple of days we had some upside moves, and then basically that was the top, and then bang to the downside right there as the market falls through. So, you know, even if you miss, and it's true of many of these names, right? I mean, we've looked at, I don't want to change it on here without changing it over here first. You know, looking at a stock like a Reddit, and Neil just talked about an ARM, and there's been many names that a lot of traders have wanted to get into where maybe you thought that you had missed certain rallies or whatever. Like Reddit has been a really big success story from its IPO, but the same thing sort of was true of this, where it made a really ridiculous high in the first couple days of trade, you know, where we opened up at 50 and then wound up going to 70, 75, 80 right there to the upside, then got hit again. So very similar to Service Titan, although this was more dramatic, and we still got an opportunity to get long below the IPO price. So just like Palantir came out at 920, eventually traded to 7. You know, like there's going to be things like that happen. Spotify, like they're all kind of like that. But at the end of the day, if you like the stock, then there's going to be opportunities to get in. Today is more of a day just to go back and forth with it. So as Neil mentioned, it's just about watching out for the imbalance locator. Then I just wrote down the same thing here, and that is that you just want to take the opening print, scalp it. I wrote it here. Wait to see what that opening price is, get short and or exit that long if you're still in it. So, I mean, I think it's a pretty easy trade. Yeah, you don't necessarily have to go long on the opening print. I'm not sure you have to do that, but you know, I remember Service Titan kind of hung around and then popped and then dropped through. So that's where I go with the scalp.
And Titan was a good one. It was actually,
I think it's right. And then eventually it broke. So yeah, I mean, I think, interesting to look at. Should, you know, soak up some traders' time today. And that's all that we're looking for is opportunity, right?
I know one thing I'm not going to do is when you mentioned it with Coinbase.
Right.
I remember every trader was just geared up waiting for Coinbase to open, and they had their opening orders ready to go, and they're on the keys, and you're like, I'm not getting up for a second because it could open up any minute.
Plus it was $360 or something.
Well, also, so that then a lot of people didn't get to eat their lunch, and a lot of people didn't go to the bathroom for a very long time. I'm not making that mistake, because when you're in that moment, get up and do your stuff, because they're probably not going to do it, and then you'll be the comfortable one sitting waiting for it to happen.
I'm going to ask ChatGPT on average how long it takes.
That's a great question, on average how long it takes. And I'm paid, the other thing I should have mentioned, I'm paying for locates the second I can, because I'm willing to trade this to the short side if I see something set up. So I'm more than willing to pay for those locates.
It just breaks that opening price. And then I don't even think you need to worry about anything else.
Try to get the short. But we'll see. Like, obviously, we don't have them yet. They'll probably come out a little bit later, be available for us here at Real Trading. Crypto catching a bit of a crypto week, but we just caught a bit of a bid, actually. Boys.
0.3 still here for the market as well. Worth noting the overall market trying to bounce a little bit back to the upside. But yeah, let's talk about IBIT back to 48.50 here. Lots of data on inflows again, which is kind of interesting this morning, but big gap here for this ETF today.
So these U.S. spot ETFs for Bitcoin, Brendo, 10 straight days of inflows. That's the longest streak since early December, obviously with the election having that tailwind. Thursday's net inflows totaled about 89 million, with the majority of the money going to Fidelity's inflow and BlackRock. There were some outflows as well. So Invesco's BTCO saw some outflows. Wisdom Tree also saw some. And despite the streak, the total 10-day inflows of about $1 billion remains modest compared to earlier surges, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Analysts, you know, they're mixed here. Institutions are cautiously positioning themselves, not a risk-on kind of situation. The data reflects ongoing interest in Bitcoin exposure, despite the choppy macroeconomic backdrop. But this is what caught my attention here. There's an obvious divergence of inflows and outflows here between Bitcoin and Ether. The spot ETH ETFs have seen net outflows every single day, Brendo, since February 20th, except for 2 different sessions. The divergence underscores, obviously here, stronger investor conviction in Bitcoin over ETH.
Yeah, more and more people making that switch, clearly. Is there a trade here today, guys?
looking at two things. One, IBIT 48.8, which, I mean, that was that prior, like, yeah, double bottoms. Double bottoms matter to an extent because they're liquidity events, but remember, it's a 24-hour market, but it still holds up. It's 48.8. That's going to be roughly, what is that, like 86.6 or something like that. It's underneath 87, but above 86. So that's a level. That's one level I'm looking at, and the other one is going to be Mara 14. We have free locates on Mara. It's a bit of a like lower high setup for Mara, but look at the daily chart on Mara. I don't know. The trend seems to be like all roads keep leading us back to $12 with lower highs. So at this point, until it gets there, I want to play fades. If Bitcoin's not breaking 14, like if we're breaking that 14.8 on IBIT, so that means we're breaking 86 half area, then I don't want to fight it too much. But there's plenty of room for it to get up to that resistance. It's not quite a double top because the prior day was a lower high, but it's still a clear point of resistance on MARA. So as long as Bitcoin's not breaking out, there's more room for that to get to the upside. Like Bitcoin could shoot up, not look like a great short, but then Mara is right then and there for us at $14.
Yeah, market coming back up to the upside quite nicely right here. I mean, what's up with that? I mean, the market just took off like really nicely. Over 100 handles, 100 points right there, straight to the upside, just boom. Okay. Maybe something's going to happen. Yeah, I was looking at Mara today, 100%. I mean, we traded this really well down there at $12. That was a big day, that one day. It's the only time that I've traded it in a long time there was when we got back down into 12. And we did really well on that. We were here on the show. We took it 12. I think it was like 12.15 to 12.25 up to like 12.50, 12.70. It wasn't like a huge trade or anything. But I'm going to look short again here today just because I want to go short underneath this 1370. So this will be an area where I'm going to start it. Is at, my charts just went all wonky there, around this 1370 area, kind of like yesterday's close. So that's right where I'm going to start the short. I mean, we just had a nice move up. Excuse me, maybe crypto will hold that 85,000, and if it does, good. So 13.7 is where we'll start it, and we have 14.1. You know, like so. Let's give this a little bit of room. But I'm going to put a little bit of shares on here, see what happens around there. I don't mind the short here in Mara. I know there's a lot of traders that are long crypto, but let's just see what winds. I mean, so am I. Let's just see what's wrong or what's up with this market, because if this move is right, then, you know, I do think that crypto does get back to that 87,000 mark, in which spot, you know, this Mara short won't be working. So, yeah, 1370, I'm already sitting there on Mara. So that's my play right there. Coinbase obviously has been disappointing. It's just hanging out right now. And, you know, with crypto being down as much as it is, I actually am surprised that Coinbase is down much more than that. So, you know, 340, this was like when Bitcoin was up at 110, 105-ish, you know, and then all of a sudden now it's like chopped in half. So it just seems like that's a big move down for Coinbase. But when you don't understand something, then it's not something to be, you know, really looking at. But 177 there, great bottom. I don't think that gets hit today. This is another very, very interesting earnings release. I'm going to find out when exactly they report, because Coinbase seems like there's something up with it. So yeah, a name to definitely fade on any pop as well. Maybe 190, 191 up here for Coinbase in case there is a move. So yeah, bad moves for Coinbase lately. We're going to be shorting Hood today as well. That's not on there, but that's another name that we talk about. So I'm going to be shorting Robinhood if we get that opportunity, Coinbase and Mara. So unfortunately, it looks like a start of a down day, but it rallied nicely. It held 85,000. So
yeah, for now.
Yeah, for now. 10 minutes until open.
You got time.
All right, China downside this morning, right across the board. Really doesn't matter what you look at. I mean, some of the EV names trying to bounce right now with the overall market. 1975, $20 coming back into play here for XPeng, but everything kind of looks like this. There's Alibaba, 134 coming back into play. All the e-commerce names, big gaps under pressure here so far.
Yeah, and a big meeting yesterday between President Xi and a lot of the U.S. business leaders, Brendo, whether they are running companies or running hedge funds. Ray Dalio was there as well as some others. And basically, President Xi is trying to drive home the point to some of these leaders here that we kind of need to maintain the world kind of market order. He's trying to stress against a tariff war and using them to kind of persuade Donald Trump. I don't know what kind of a strategy, how well that strategy is employed, but a lot of U.S. leaders there, Brendo, and looking at speaking with President Xi.
Yeah, it might be market dependent today, depending on what we end up doing for everything, but these are definitely downside potentials.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have
FXI.
There's a few things I'm looking. We just talked about the crypto names. I mentioned Palantir. If we get that 90 to 91 area, and we haven't talked about Tesla yet. But same thing for NEO. The all-time low. I think it's an all-time low. Doesn't really matter. It's obviously 360 is a big level. You're back underneath the $4. So if this one can continue trend down, that's what I'm looking for a bounce. Maybe today, said this every single day this week, and we never really got there. So until we do, I think we want to give it a shot. I know it's only like 29 cents away, but it's a $4 stock. So it's going to be 10% down if it gets down there. It's going to take a hefty move. That's why I want to look reversals into NIO at that price. But that's the only Chinese name that I'm remotely looking at. I mentioned that I sold some Alibaba recently, and I think that one is at least headed back into the 50 period and this prior high at 120, but not doing a heck of a lot today to look for a trade there in BABA. But yeah, I think this one is also trending down. NEO's, I think, the only one I'll end up potentially trading if it sees a move close enough to 360.
Yeah, so I was just looking at, why I sort of talked about this when we first came on about those tariffs. China's come in and said that they obviously will retaliate. So, down 1.4%, bad overnight in China. So that's where we're at right now. It's actually up, since where we last looked at it. So China and the U.S. market's starting to go upside, but just for a 200 period moving average, I don't think we need to get too fancy. We're not going to get back up here, I wouldn't think. I don't know unless the NASDAQ really rallies, in which case I'm going to be short the NASDAQ. So for that, doesn't really matter. So just if we get up there, that would be a good short if you prefer shorting here on China. I would say you even want to get a little more aggressive than that and go right around the 200 period moving average on the 1 minute, so 36.40. So if we do get that bump up early in the market, you're just looking at 36.40, which is where we opened yesterday. So I would say shorting yesterday would be fine. So a nice move up there. Obviously, it went. The whole market kind of went there in China. And then today we come in and it's a downside move. So, yeah, I would say if we get back to that level, makes sense to me. Yesterday's open and the 200 period moving average, I'd be going short. Yesterday we saw NEO. We had Michael Noss come on earlier today and talk about offerings. NEO did the same thing yesterday where it dropped back through the $4 mark. And then it actually got up to that it's showing 420. Did we actually get up to there? Not because of the 420, but because we had mentioned it yesterday that could have been a level. Yeah, so this was, there's the drop. So then yesterday's high, nothing. So 404, 405. So we didn't really get anywhere yesterday. So, those are good shorts. And now it's kind of confirmed it, right? That you've opened up back now way underneath. It's not like 390 is not way under, but still, you lose 15 cents. It's not great. So I would be shorting NEO and using $4 as my level and then punching out if we lose 5 cents up there at 404, 405. So yeah, actually this is not a bad trade. We talked about that yesterday. You take 1,000 shares here at 398, again, depending on what your account size is. I never know, like if you have a small account, do you trade the bigger names with less shares to look for the bigger moves? Or do you trade the lower price names? And if so, you're probably not using NEO. Like if you have 1,000 shares, that's only $4,000. Like it's not huge, and I think you can get 10 pennies. So like if you're in
either though,
if you're in kind of any challenge, I don't know.
Okay, so someone asked what I was eating. Cantaloupe. The slices
they're huge today.
These are really healthy slices. Now usually just a little bit smaller is better. So, anyways, there's cantaloupe. There's a little bit of
there's 3 of them.
Pineapple, and then there's just some melon. But yeah, anyone that wondered what that was, just a little fruit in the morning. Gotta stay healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll wrap things up here with semiconductors. A couple of days worth, if you zoom out. If you zoom out on NVIDIA's chart, let's go over here. Get a better idea. A couple of days worth of maybe, dare I say, a bottom coming into play here for. They all kind of look like this. AMD, Intel just kind of hanging out. There's a range definitely forming. Daily chart support possibly. Not a heck of a lot of news today, but worth watching, I think.
No, there's a light SMCI headline here, Brendo. A new product that they've got. It's called the single socket server, and it targets cost and efficiency gains. So you can kind of see from the infographic there, it's designed to handle workloads that previously required dual socket systems. Not that I understand what dual socket systems are. It cuts acquisition, power, and cooling costs. That's obviously important if you're a hyperscaler. Apparently, the servers are about 100% more a core per system compared to the previous generations, and they're kind of made to maximize acceleration, networking, and storage flexibility. So to see how SMCI trades that. I was just looking at my my watch list here for these semis. Only 3. AMAT, which got an upgrade today.
Yeah.
NVIDIA, which is green. SMCI green. Everything else red.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of movement. A little bit here, a little bit there. Here's the SMCI, maybe one of the weakest on a daily chart anyways. We're right back to that low from going back to the beginning of the month, guys.
You know what's not looking, like it wasn't looking like the best day when SMCI was like the only green. Well, I mean, it's the best looking, I shouldn't say the only green, the best looking chip name. NVIDIA's up 0.5% now, it wasn't before. Here's kind of a head and shoulders setup here on AMD. It did that thing where it failed the top again. Here's the daily chart, broke out, failed the top. Remember what it needed to do? Hold the 50 period, break out the most recent, like the first sign of resistance that it got to after holding the 50 period. That's exactly where it turned, and then it promptly lost the 50 period again. So it's back to doing the thing that it does. So a head and shoulders with the shoulder at 108 on AMD is the chip name that I'm looking at right now. The other one, and we don't really get a chance, we didn't get too much of a chance to talk about it, but again, Palantir, you had that 91. I mean, it closed at 90, but you had a close here at 91 with some support. So I have an entire zone here. There's 90 and then there's 91 where I want to look for a fade in PLTR. But AMD's the only chip. I mean, you can make an argument for, like I have NVIDIA 113 written down, but then AMD looks weaker. So if I got to pick one of those two, it's going to be AMD. Oh, and then keep in mind, I mean, CoreWeave, obviously AI play. So when they open up, I'm not saying they're going to move everything else, but you're going to want to pay attention to overall sentiment in NVIDIA and some of the chip and AI names when CoreWeave is open. You won't want to ignore what's going on in NVIDIA while CoreWeave is trading around.
All right, yeah, I had to log out and back in, so I'm just going to get that going in 1 second here. But yeah, we want to look at those imbalances. You know, the market here had that nice move up. It's starting to get faded just a little bit right now. So we'll, once this loads...
I got the imbalances.
Yeah, okay, what's on?
There's nothing huge out here. NU, I mean, anyone that trades new, it's 600,000 to sell. Oxy is a sell of 500,000. NVIDIA, despite that move up, is a 300,000 to the sell side. Hey, there's Mullen, the, oh goodness, 16 cents? That's pathetic. Neo is a 200,000 sell, so nothing crazy. That's a very small imbalance by NVIDIA. Man, Mullen's terrible. Yeah, and NVIDIA was a move to the upside initially, but those are really small imbalances, especially on a Friday.
All right, so
yeah, there's, what's that wick? There we go. Oh, that's even better, NVIDIA. So NVIDIA, there was your rally to the upside and a little bit of a pullback on that imbalance trade there. But like I said, I'm going to be looking at AMD primarily, and it would have to, I mean, it would have to at least press into the above 107, let's just say, because 108's the level, and it's going to take some patience if the market pops for AMD for me.
Yeah, yeah, too bad that there's not too much on the imbalance locator here. Let's see what Tesla's going to open at early. I mean, we didn't
even mention Tesla.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we did. Oh, did we?
No, we didn't. I don't think there was a Tesla mention this morning. Maybe this might be the first one. All right, so yeah, pretty good today. I mean, up 1.5%, right? I mean, we're liking that much better than everything else right now. There's not too much else happening in the market, but we are starting to pull back a little bit here, just of the mega caps, basically. So Tesla's always looked at there. 280 seems to be a good top. So that looks like a bust along. I mean, honestly, you're above VWAP. It's up on the day. This is pulling back. Like, I don't know, did I just miss something again? But the markets are sort of flashing here back in. So there's Tesla, just lost 0.5% like that. It was just up 1.5%. Now back down into 1% right now. Is Apple going down too? No, not, okay. Oh no. Some sort of dark pool.
Oh, Amazon.
Some sort of dark pool.
Amazon up a couple bucks.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. It seems like, yeah, but nah, I don't know.
Oh, wait a minute.
Man.
No.
I feel like there's some
it didn't.
Some stupid dark pool wicks happening here.
I just saw the same chart.
All right, yeah. So NVIDIA probably has the same, something similar. No, not really. NVIDIA actually does make a move down. Okay, let's check on Robinhood. You know, yesterday we were short Tesla early, then we were out of the short and lost money on the 280 short. Then we went long and it ripped up to 292 or something, and that was huge. So there's going to be lots of opportunities on Tesla. Robinhood didn't do anything on that little whoosh down there, so that's good. So still looking at this level here for Robinhood, 43.50. I mean, if we can get up to there, I don't know if that will happen immediately. There's less than 1 minute right now. And then another name that we haven't called up yet today would be Palantir, and that's below 90. So, you know, we always look over at these big flyers. We know that there's some big moves early on a lot of these names as well. So wait to see if Palantir can bottom out somewhere. 88.50 was yesterday, this morning's low. We'll wait to see if that fills. But again, underneath yesterday's closing price of $90 right there is Palantir. So, hey, it's going to be a good Friday, man. We'll wait for CoreWeave. We're excited for that. If you guys ever hear about when that's going to open, let us know. Ears to the ground on CoreWeave, Tesla, LXRX, lots of things popping off. All right, Adara, here we go. With only 7 seconds left. The open, of course, is sponsored by Foremost Clean Energy. So 3, 2, and 1. Check them out. FMST on your radar with Foremost on the NASDAQ. So, okay, so Palantir, as expected, sort of. We say that there's always going to be a little bit of a move down here or up. Palantir can get going pretty early. You're saying Amazon's dumping? That was another name.
It is actually, Amazon's at 197.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Over under that 200 level on Amazon for sure. It's also the 200 period moving average on the daily, which we showed you. This wick is not real. These are real, and Amazon looking incredibly weak. The market's above the low, and this is clearly breaking down. Again, you're going to always want to be patient here. Mara's heading a little bit down. Nothing too crazy. So no spike up to be able to fade on Mara. And I'm going to make the assumption that AMD is also not doing anything. So not catching much of a bid here for any fades. I mean, if you're going to look to short pops, you're not really getting anything just yet. There is that one small capper that I'm looking at, LXRX. That immediately lost VWAP, but it's sort of basing out here. 61's a big level on LXRX, and it's already done 100 million shares this morning, but it needs to show a little bit more strength. I'll let that one settle down and give us an opening range. So patient warning so far, nothing really coming in.
No, I was just looking at the futures and just thinking that, like, if anything might happen, maybe the futures. Nice move. We bounced off the 200 period moving average. So if we can get back up to 61.60, I think we can start offering. Well, I am offering there. So if the futures can come up a little bit more here, and this, of course, is the NASDAQ. So we'll see if it bumps. I mean, we could also take that out. That low, which would be an interesting low as well to go. So I think we'll short that bottom just to see if it can hold VWAP, which would be 61.40. So that right there is 60, basically a break, which is happening right now. So $60.94. Well, I think we'll go short on the NASDAQ and just give that a go. So there it is for right now. We do have VWAP. It wasn't really a big issue, but we could get out if we break and we don't, because you're at the bottom too, right? So it could be the bottom to the pop. So we'll wait, but you know, we'll play the momentum downside. We did talk about it. Ooh la la! Thank you, Brendan. You did, but that's okay.
Oh, thank you.
Brendan making an appearance.
Oh, thanks, Brendo.
Oh, right. This might be the best coffee we've ever had. You know.
Well, it's going to be the best coffee.
Yeah, maybe it's spiked. Let's see. He's like, more energy, guys. We need more energy.
It is Friday.
For that one. And I like the professional. I mean, I prefer these cups anyways, actually, than those other ones. I mean, I like the Trader TV Live ones, but I like the glass. I feel like the glass cups keeps the heat better. That's probably not true, but.
It caught me chewing there. It's absolutely hilarious where like my timing for when to actually grab a bite is just piss poor.
I think you're just always eating, I think, especially in the morning.
In the morning, 100% in the morning. I don't eat anything until just before 8 o'clock, and I wake up at like 4:30, so I tend to be really hungry. Neo literally hasn't moved, so that one not doing anything. I was
going to look at Lulu. I mean, Lulu's like, at that 298 level.
Like, there's nothing too crazy. Tesla, there was never any pop in Tesla to fade as well. That's right down into the lows at the bottom as Ramin massages my microphone. If you hear, apologies, I think there's some feedback on my microphone, so apologies.
There always is, apparently.
Yeah, there's issues with my mic.
Yeah. Okay, so the TQs almost took out that low again. So I'm going to go short here. Remember, at 10 o'clock, we do have Was Michigan sentiment, right? So I'm just going to double check that to make sure I get that for you guys, right? Consumer spending, University of Michigan consumer sentiment for March coming in at 10. So, all right, Neil, I think this is the first position, so we'll hit the alarm right now for an early short not that early, it's 9:34, but an early short here in the NASDAQ, breaking the lows of the day. The NASDAQ's only down, I don't even have the NASDAQ right here. Here it is. The NASDAQ only down 0.7. I guess that's a pretty decent move, considering that we were up all the way up here at one point. So this is going to be a little bit of a slippery slope. We know that we've hit the bottoms and made moves back up to the tops before as well. So let's just be careful. Yeah, maybe Tesla's a mover there. What about just here, 61.40? If we get back up to 61.40, let's get out of this trade. All right, so again, a move back to VWAP. I think that would be enough for me to say, let's toss this one away and figure out what's next. So we'll short that. Again, early position here, not really a maximum one, but a decent one there. We'll look to maybe get a little bit more on a bump up, but we don't need to be averaged in and be completely wrong on our very first trade. So we'll wait for it. Again, we get in early all the time, and sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So right now we're in this one here early. It only went in the money about 4 or 5 cents. So that bottom for now has been holding. And we talked about Tesla yesterday, right? It's like I was short, but the long was much, much better. And then eventually the long ripped huge. So this could be a long too. We'll wait. Okay, you're Amazon now?
Yeah. Amazon.
Yeah.
So Amazon, look, it obviously broke that 200 a while ago, but VWAP doesn't necessarily matter. Pre-market low sits just underneath 199. So I said over under on this stock on the 50 period. Oh, it's got the wick there too. On the 50 period on the daily, but into prior low yesterday, 199.3. That's a good place to try to give it to if we're not going to get any of those pre-market highs. So we'll give us a little bit of a berth.
Oh, Tesla.
We also liked a bunch of other things for popping fades. You're just not getting pops. The only place where we're popping is NVIDIA. Like NVIDIA looks incredibly strong here. Well,
Tesla's
relatively
dying,
speaking, it's going back into the 112. So watch out for that. I'm only in Amazon. There was no pop in Palantir. There's nothing happening in Bitcoin either. That's just chilling at 85. I'm going to get some bids out here. 197.5 will be the first. And the low of the day is 197. Apologies for this wick. That's not real. It never went to 195 on Amazon.
No, it did not. All right, so we got some more short there on the TQs, but it is ripping back up, and we just covered some more at 61.10 there. So, yeah, like it's not great, but we just got a short there off of VWAP basically, and covered a little bit down in again. So let's wait. I mean, if this breaks through the 61.50 area, then we can get out. So right now, we're not being too sensitive to price action. We're just trying to watch out what's going on in the NASDAQ. We thought we could break that low. It did break, but now here it goes, screaming right back up to VWAP. So this is going to be a spot here where we can exit because we've seen these markets flip-flop on a dime, and it's probably not worth like hanging out. We talked about that yesterday, especially with Tesla.
SMCI is strong.
SMCI, yeah, that was the one. Remember,
it's the only strong. Well, it's not the only strong thing.
So Tesla just went down $10. Like I was saying, Tesla's dying. I mean, I still kind of stand by that. It's making the move back up. Okay, here we go. So now it's starting to make the move back up. So we only got out of 75. So we did get stopped out on that. So we'll have to hit the fail on there. But because of this run, I only got stopped out of 75% of it. So now I'm going to try to see about. You think this is going to be a green day? Like, I don't know, man. We'll see. Now we have this area here, the 200 period, which is where we were initially waiting for some of the shorts. So we'll get stopped out at 75% of this trade. We did take a little bit out there, but still, that would have been for flat, so averaged in. But an L right there. Let's see if it pulls back. I don't really have.
It'll take some convincing for me that we're not a short anymore.
Right.
Because yesterday I was in GameStop short the whole morning, and I left for the game at 11 o'clock. 5 minutes after I left, it just trended down $4. So sometimes you stick with your plan as long as it's still valid. So I just got to reload. It's not a reload because I didn't really get anything out on Amazon here. But if we break this prior bar high, I'm going to jump away from it and just be willing to get back in around that $200 level. As we mentioned, without showing it, SMC. Well, I mean, it was at the high of the day and breaking 36 a second ago, but now it's starting to pull back in there on SMCI. Double bottom at 34.50, so it's got a nice little base that it's putting on it. If it can get through 36 and the market's strong, I think there are worse places you could go to, but only in Amazon at this point because it's the only thing that I was looking for a short underneath the low, and it's trying to press back higher. There we go. Actually, matter of fact, there it goes. So we'll stop to fail on Amazon. As I said, I'm not giving up on it until we break away from the $200 level. We're still underneath 200. I'm just going to wait for the next entry a dollar higher or right back in here at this same level. So as the market's coming over, let's see if we can't. No, Palantir's not bouncing. Like Palantir, I also like short. That's at the low of the day. Mara's at the low of the day. We like Mara short. I mean, you just cancel 14s. No need to have that out there. So just gonna have to be patient. It looks to me like the only thing in a target area is going to be Amazon. AMD's nowhere near where I'd like to trade it. I don't think we're going to get a shot at AMD anytime soon. I'm just going to wait for Amazon to press into this 200 level and then re-engage the short. Oh yeah, okay. LXRX. Let's go.
1 minute. All right. I was looking at I was thinking about Oracle, maybe like Oracle, but Oracle had a nice move up there, despite some of the negative news. Maybe Apple. Apple's moving around lately as well. So maybe there could be something here. Come on, charts. All right. So Apple's actually going back upside. So just watch out because, like we said, we had tested the futures to the low side. Didn't work out. We're still in that position. We're going to wait to see what winds up happening with it. We did get stopped out of 75% when we took out VWAP, and I'm going to do that every time. We'll wait to see if we get a higher move on that. But right now, Apple's at the 200 period, so giving us some kind of a thought. But this is looking pretty like mixed right here. Looking for bigger moves, like bigger names. What about that Wolf? We had talked about that earlier. Let's have a quick look.
Didn't know what was going on with Wolf.
So $3.
So Wolf is down over 40% and could not find a story on Wolf. And if anybody knows what's going on with this company, would love to know. Looks like 350. I was looking at LXRX, but that's lost VWAP, so I'm not that interested. It's not going to be the small capper unless it gets back above for me. But Wolf, I mean, if Wolf could break 350, ideally you'd want to know what's going on, but an obvious resistance on this stock down here. I've seen this pattern before where if it makes fresh lows, you could just go halting all day to the downside, but it's catching some kind of a bid here at 3 at least. Right, Amazon has not moved that much. I'm going to put that one up and maybe watch that 350 level. Amazon hasn't moved much since I got out of it. We're still waiting for the 200 level on this new CEO. That's it.
For Wolf?
So this is because they got a new CEO.
Oh, they must have really
it tells you something. Yeah, it tells you something about the company in a general sense if you're following that much. Look, the stock is what it is. This is the daily chart on the stock. I'm not here to tell you it's anything good. I just didn't know what the story was. So flat bottom break, like everything.
Oh, Nvidia's
it speaks for itself. We don't need to get too complicated with that. But that 350 level, just for a key level to watch, obviously 350 is worth it. So waiting for, if we're going to press higher on AMD, I am waiting for it to get at least closer to 108 before I fade this. Adara?
Okay, for Wolf, I want to clarify the new CEO news came out yesterday during the day. So unclear if that's what's moving the stock. It seems a bit unlikely. I looked into it a little bit this morning. I was seeing some people saying there was heavy put buying, which does suggest a downside move. Also, some talks that apparently the company was set to benefit from the CHIPS Act. We know Donald Trump is not a fan of the CHIPS Act, so that funding could go away. Also, though, another name I want to mention here is SNSE, Sensei Biotherapeutics. This is a penny stock trading around 60 cents a share right now. Pushed to the downside pre-market after its earnings report. Now trying to bounce a little bit here. So SNSE, penny stock on watch. Back to you.
SNSE. So I then suddenly remembered there was a chip stock that we hadn't looked at. And you should also remember to hit the like and subscribe. If we get enough likes, I do a new one of these.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
New one, eh?
I was pointing at the wrong camera. Anyways, you guys get the idea. No, Intel was underneath that 23.5. This was one where, if you're looking for key levels, support to resistance, I looked over. AMD wasn't at the price that we wanted. I was looking over at the other chip names. So this is trying to break trend. If you make a fresh high, and it's pretty simple here. You make a fresh high, we get out of it and move on. Oh, Amazon as well. Okay,
everything's popping here.
As that's happening, Amazon just broke back above 199. I'm looking for 200 on Amazon. It's either 200 or we fail underneath VWAP and we take a shot at that. And for everyone looking at Wolf, this is the other one keeping an eye on. It's trying to catch a bid off 3. Nothing yet into this 350 area. And I just realized we probably don't have free locates on Wolf. So I would have to go pay for them anyways.
Hungry Leica. Yeah, we're so all right, I mean, I was like, okay, I mean, NVIDIA's going here. All right, so here's a little bit of a pullback. Here's a nice surprise. We're short the Qs, right? I mean, it came into our level there. And again, I was just like, oh boy, we are starting to get a little spicy here as this market was starting to, oops, that's still NVIDIA, but yet we're on the Qs. There it is. So we shorted the 200 period. This was the idea from the jump. I mean, we sort of talked about that. We wanted to get this level in, and unfortunately, not unfortunately, we always get a little bit overzealous, I feel like, especially when we're looking at the market and trying to figure out like what levels are going to hold and, you know, timing and everything like that. So right now we do have a nice trade happening right here on the TQQs. And it was just because, honestly, we just got a little bit patient there. So patience does wind up paying right now for the TQs and the futures as it comes all the way back up there into the 200 period moving average. Now, the one thing is we talked about this, we still have 15 minutes until the
Next
consumer sentiment, right, at 10 o'clock. So that's going to give us a little bit of topsy-turvy action here for sure. You know, I think the consumer is pretty weak. I mean, you're seeing it with Amazon right there today.
Lulu.
Yeah, Lulu's another great example. So lots of things happening right now. I'm going to hold out to see if we can get back into that area right there. So we've now covered just over half. And I have a bigger fill coming. And I'm waiting for 61.15s. But now that I'm seeing a little bit more action right now, let's take something out again if we can get into the low 30s again here. And then just take 40 handles and just feel lucky that, honestly, the move didn't go the... I always say, okay, there it is. I mean, let's go. We're spinning. I mean, we're spinning it now. This is a big trade. This is a big trade right now because it does come up into our level there. And we wound up... So we wound up at this level, we had about... I'd say about 30 to 40% more shares by the time we were filled up there than we did at that area. But still, get in. Oh, we just missed it. I was waiting for 15s. If we get 15s, then we'll pretty much be flat after all this. And then we'll wait to see him play with some house money here on the futures. Come on, bring it on down. If we can get that filled, that would be really nice. So there it is, man. It's the short so far. Intel's right at the level. I mean, I'm glad you brought it up. But we have our number 2 trade idea here is 23.50 short Intel. So you're on that. You're right there. I'm going to hold off on taking that because,
my goodness, Mara.
Just quite frankly, I have a boatload of TQs compared to what I probably would have on Intel. So let's wait to see. I don't need to go 0 for 2 here on Intel and the Qs. So we'll wait for it. But yeah, Mara with the dump. I mean, that was...
Mara is already at 13
I wanted 1370 is where I'm
Yeah, I mean, at this point, you always have to make an adjustment. Like, and the adjustment is, I mean, you can pull up a chart of GameStop from yesterday. You just shorted it back into VWAP when it broke down. So Mara, if we want short, then VWAP and prior day low is 1325. So I want to fade into 1325 as long as Bitcoin's not doing anything silly. If it's doing something silly to the upside, then fine. Lower highs here in Amazon. It does not break into 200. I thought it was a right call to get out underneath VWAP or above VWAP when it broke. Looks like we're not going to get that chance at 200, at least not yet. So yeah, still trying to play the patience game. Tesla is trying to get to 280, so maybe that will set up as well. It just broke VWAP itself. Anyone can see 280 from yesterday in the morning when it broke away from there. You got resistance up there as well. So we're just in Intel. I was trying to get some money fills a little closer to the high. But you see these wicks, like it's rejecting above 50. So I got filled at 48, and I haven't gotten any fills above the 50 level, giving it to that local top. So we're only in, I'm bidding first at VWAP and then through the low of the day. Then we hold till 23 even on this. The only trade we're in. And I do have eyes on Wolf. Just nothing crazy happening yet. It doesn't even want to go up.
Yeah, here comes the money, Shane McMahon style. We were just singing that there, but yeah, good trade, man. I like the Intel, just not moving enough right now to take my eyes off of this. But we just got fills down there. I changed, so I went from 15s to 22s. So we just got that fill right there. It's not breaking, right? I mean, 25 we're holding. I said, let me put something near the bottom wick. So now we're starting to go back up to the upside. So remember, our stop is 62, and we have less than half of this position now. So I don't know about a reload. Not now. Like I said, that was a good move to have that come right back in there. We were shorting all the way up. So wow, okay. We said that we had a bigger fill down there, so we did. So we grabbed that, which is why we're under half right now. But at the end of the day, you know, if this breaks higher, it's a losing trade, right? So we'll have to wait to see on that. 62. That high is 62.01. Just want to make sure where my stop is. Yeah, so we're going a little higher than that. The only spot that I'll reload right now is like 61.90. It's going to have to go significant to get me short again. So we're not going to be shorting in the 70s. Give me 20 more handles higher than that, and we'll rock. So Adara taking care of some business. What's up?
This part of the show is brought to you by Foremost. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy. Leveraging one of the biggest megatrends on the planet, nuclear energy, partnered with Denison Mines with properties strategically located in the Athabasca Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential, features nuclear. And Foremost is your entry. On the NASDAQ under FMST and on the CSE under FAT. Or you can go to foremostcleanenergy.com for details. Back to you.
Appreciate it, Adara. Thank you so much.
Those guys out.
Shout outs to Foremost. Mara is still looking incredibly weak. I'm just wondering if maybe it'll set up a little bit better over here on IBIT. Not really. IBIT's higher highs and higher lows, and Mara's weak. It's just another reason why we want to be in the Mara short and not IBIT. For those watching Tesla, it's not really getting to 280 at this point, but there's still enough strength in it relative to the market to wait for it patiently. Only want those A+ if we can get them. So, yeah, eyeballs for me are on Amazon. If we can get it back above 199, I want to look short. Intel's still exactly here. INTC, it's still right here. Was able to get a fill like right at 49 because I wasn't getting above 50, but it's simple. Break the high, and I guess we're going to be getting out of that one. Now only going sideways. Hamster, I do know there's a Mara 2X ETF. I don't trade those. It's just you don't need to necessarily. I know for some traders, fine, fair enough. But I'll just stick with regular old boring MARA. No pop. The only green candle went like 2 cents. Actually, well, it was more than that. It went like 5 or 6 cents, but you get the idea. It doesn't want to get into VWAP. The market is still on a bit of a bounce, so as long as that's happening, I want to give it a chance to give me a better fill. Yeah, there's nothing too crazy here so far at the open. I was expecting after yesterday. Yesterday was a lot wilder at the open than this morning has been.
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to look at Robinhood. I mean, just some names that were on our list today. We are still waiting for CoreWeave. You know.
Oh, you want?
Again, ears to ground on that. Yeah, you can get me some shares on that. Well, if you're on the
it's open.
Yeah, might as well. Yeah, whatever. Like maybe just 500 shares or something. Well, let me know how expensive it is. If it's cheap, then yeah, just get me whatever. Okay, so just looking here to see about CoreWeave. I'm going to sort by market time because that way we should be able to get an update of it. I don't even see it on here.
Too early.
Like, so, you know. Come on, CoreWeave, like, let's go. So it's not on here yet, so we'll wait to see when that comes through. All right, Robinhood today, down, he's down 3% right now for Robinhood. You know, looking to short this name. Again, we're already short the Qs, so I'm just gonna wait to get short anything else. Like I said, I mean, Intel was the trade number 2. I'm glad Neil has it, but so that's another trade that both of us were looking at. So that's good. Let's let it settle down. Obviously, if this market can go, then great. Maybe I should just take both shorts. It's just I'm so invested right now into this Qs trade that I'm just going to sit in that for now. See what happens at 10 o'clock when we do have that number, okay? The other name that's happening right now is NVIDIA. It's been a great trade today. Like, you know, it's been up and down, so it's been painful if you did like that and got stopped out. But look at this high. Like, we just talked about this, 113. Like, you know, when we talked about the chips earlier at 8:30, 9 o'clock. By the way, yes, bang right there. Let's go futures. Bring it on down as we get nice little print there. 40, 50 handles there. We just got another Qs print down there. But NVIDIA right into right into afternoon highs right there. Yeah, the pre-market was kind of nothing. And then not only that, you got into yesterday's low, which could have been a long, and then yesterday's high, again, you know, afternoon high, could have been the short. So, like, your support and resistance trader, man, NVIDIA has been awesome. All right? But honestly, this trade for me here, I'm trying to make this trade great again, you know? And if we can, then giddy up, because there it goes, man. Another fill. It's another one down there. We'll see if we can get down into $61 now. So I'm still bidding there. Boom, Neil. Let's go right now as we are back in business, baby. There it goes. Let's go futures, man. Here we go. You know, back into Greensville here. We need to get this to the downside. Breakthrough. Break your back, man. Here we go. Breaking through $61 now. The number's not even out. You know, the only thing that I missed out on again.
You still have 5 minutes.
Yeah, was Intel, but you got Intel, so we're happy, joy. But here's the push. Let's go, Ren and Stimpy. Down to the downside, $60 $1.85 is where we wait right now. You know, arms back, relaxed, sipping on some cognac. Thanks, Brendan, for that as well.
There is no cognac in here. I refuse to drink cognac.
There's no.
Everyone has, I told so before, everyone has one drink that they don't want to have ever again, and Hennessy is mine. But shout out, love the futures trade. We're headed to the bottoms right now, so obviously we missed a couple of shots. Intel just broke VWAP, but I just missed a shot in IBIT. Look, we're not going to pick up. We're not going to get anything close to what we wanted on Mara, but IBIT is finally broken trend. So next available pop, we're going to try to get into that. I didn't want to short low of the day on Mara. You can see it's absolutely bleeding at this point. It just broke 13 bucks. But we still need something to get us into that. But IBIT is kind of catching up here, and I do like that look on IBIT. If we can get this underneath VWAP on Bitcoin, I mean, that's going to be like 85 half. It's at 85,000 as we speak. The other thing we're keeping eyeballs on, everybody, is Wolf, which is still holding the bid here at $3. So I got a pretty simple thought for Wolf at this point. It's SSR, but if it breaks 3, I'm going to try and punch short. So when I say try, it just means if it breaks 3, an order is going to throw to hit the bid. Whether it gets filled or not because it's a uptick rule in effect, I have no idea. But clearly, there's someone now holding the 3 even level. You can probably maybe even risk a couple of pennies, and the low of the day is at 280. So I like the risk to reward over here on Wolf Speed, who apparently yesterday got a new CEO and today lost 40%. Who knew?
Who knew? Apparently some people knew, I guess, at the end of the day. But yeah, not us. So there goes Wolf Speed. There goes the TQs. ARM. Okay, ARM just showed up. Let me figure it out. I don't know, 112. I don't know, it just showed up on the scanner, so I don't even have the price in front of me. Oh, nice move up, actually, for ARM. Up 0.16 right now against a negative market, so good for that. The other name was SMCI. Maybe I should just get involved with that Intel, man. I mean, that's what I was trying to do. No, Nick W., we haven't heard anything about CoreWeave. I mean, I'm waiting for it. I have to go back to the dentist just for a recheck in here on that cap. So I'm hoping, and I made that appointment for 11 o'clock. So
I can show you the locator if you...
Is it? It wasn't there.
It's not there.
I know. I showed it last time.
So a lot of times, I don't think you're going to even see it pop up. Like the only things after 9:30 or whatever these stock, I don't know, BIYA, PRTG had a halt, so I guess that's why you're going to see it on there. But you'll see CoreWeave pop up on this, and if it's not here yet, then there's nothing to even see. I don't expect CoreWeave to open up until the midday show because that's been the general trend with IPOs. They can't figure it out. It shouldn't be that hard. Anyways, yeah, I'm not going to rant about it. Intel, it's slowly heading down to the low of the day. My next bid is going to be out in front. This is the open. This is the open bounce, which was at 23.32. So that's where the next bid is. I have my order on Wolf. Wolf has $3 on the bid right now, so it breaks. I'm going to try and hit 99, and we'll see if we actually get a fill on that. IBIT or Bitcoin, we're looking for a pop into VWAP, and I'm waiting to short that into VWAP. I don't know if we'll get a Mara short. That's somewhat reasonable because it's only flushing right now. So we're really only into Intel. And we'll see, like I said, we'll see about that Wolf Speed. Just a couple more pennies and we'll get our next bid. Nick, great question. Can you explain the difference between spoofing and quote stuffing? Well, to be honest with you, it depends on how much influence you have with the regulators. Because the principle is basically the same thing. It's just that it's like one of those big gray areas that algos have done it forever, market makers have done it forever, to a certain extent. And yeah, usually it's when traders do it, then they call it spoofing. And that's putting orders that you don't intend to get filled to make the book look bigger than it is in one direction or the other. But I remember back in the day, you used to see, I don't want to name firm, but you used to see firms do it all the time. And you'd see the actual order in the book, and you'd see the actual market maker that was doing it. So Intel just filled the 23.3. Oh, Wolf's New York. Wolf broke. Oh, that went to 9. That's not even a good fill. I got slipped to 97 on a $3 stock. It doesn't matter, but like that's okay. No, it doesn't matter, but it's like you don't even get 99s, so you don't even get 98. So I got 97s. The local high is about I can zoom in so you can see this better.
I can't believe
the local high is like 306 in here. So I think I'm going to give it to at least that on Wolf, Speed, whomever they are.
Yeah, great trade there on Intel. But I mean, right here, man, it was our #1 trade. So I'm a little bit like, I should have just taken it regardless of the TQs. So good one there. But there's our TQ trade. We have it on board, obviously, right now. Robinhood and then CoreWeave. We'll wait for that, right? The PCE was already bad this morning. I know it wasn't bad, but already came through, was not great. Let's leave it at that. 0.4 versus 0.3, so okay. But there it is. We just got, let's go. That's what we were talking about. Bang. So we get that, just came right into the low of the day again, the futures. So we took a couple outs right now. We only have a third left. So relatively light, waiting for lower. 2 minutes now, Dara, until that number comes out. So we're going to get consumer sentiment, and then I already have bids a hell of a lot lower than this. And if we do rip back up, I'm probably not even going to short right here. I'm going to wait to see about an 80 fill. So I do have an offer right now. Actually, I'm at 61.90 right now on the TQs. So maybe we'll change that into the 80s. But at the end of the day, less than 1 minute. The futures are near the low of the day right now.
Let the number come out.
So yeah, exactly. I'm just going to wait for it to come out. When it does, we'll trade accordingly. So just for a little bit lower there. Not that it looks any different on here, but I'm just going to wait. 61 is right there. Some of these wicks down. Pretty low, man. 60. Yeah, I got you. Still 30 seconds. $60.30 or so right there. So, if we can get anywhere into 60.40, that's where my bid is. 60.50 right now. Long story short, down there we have one at 60.80s, again near the low, then 60.50 at that recent support side. So here we go, man. We're getting lower. Let's go to Adara for numbers.
Waiting here on Michigan consumer sentiment, we're expecting 57.9 versus 57.9 previous. We're also looking here for the 5-year inflation and 1-year inflation estimates. The inflation expectations have been a bigger part of this number as of late. So let's find out. Just right now, we're getting these prints. University of Michigan consumer sentiment for the month of March coming in at 57, so just below the previous print here of 57.9 from what I'm seeing. 5-year inflation here, 4.1%, so slightly above the previous of 3.9%. 1-year inflation, let's see where this 1-year inflation number is, 5%, well above the previous print of 4.3%, slightly above the consensus of 4.9%. So just to recap those numbers, 57 for University of Michigan consumer sentiment versus 57.9. 5-year inflation, 4.1% versus 3.9% expected. 1-year inflation, 5% versus 4.9% expected. So a little above expectations for everything that's inflation related, a little bit below estimates for consumer sentiment. A little bit of a push here for this market. We dropped, then we popped a bit for the Qs. Keep an eye here in AAPL actually popping quite nicely. This one was down 20% yesterday after a Muddy Waters short report. That would be the company's 4th short report in about a month's time. But trying to recover here. Then we have Lululemon, LULU, still near day's lows despite that pop in the market. This one did have a pretty strong earnings report above estimates and year-over-year increases for revenue, but their guidance for the fiscal year and for Q1 2025, both much weaker than expected. So keep an eye here on these markets. We do have Fed speak coming later in the afternoon. Back to you.
Yes, we do. And the market still headed, there was a wick to the upside, but we're still headed to the downside there. I just missed low. Sorry, I want to get into IBIT on a pop, but we didn't really pop. I just missed getting filled off that low the first time through on Intel. It went right down to the pre-market low, but bounced. So it was a heavy wick, no pullback into VWAP. I looked over to see if that bounce could get us into IBIT or into Amazon, and neither one of those two is breaking the downward trend just yet. So we're still looking incredibly weak overall. Tesla, which hadn't been in, Tesla's forming a bit of a wedge. I don't want to call it boring, but usually when you break a wedge in one direction or the other, it starts to look trendy, and we're now past that opening range. So opening range is set on Tesla, and it looks like we're underneath that $280 level pretty precipitously. So far, the shorts are looking okay here, but we wanted one big one. And yeah, MAR is now down 6%. The annoying thing about MAR is it's at this point, it could just be at that support level before we get any kind of a reasonable short opportunity. This is $12 on Mara. Like every other time before, if Mara gets to 12, going to look for a long. It's such a big support level on the daily.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, we've, looking for a big one. We got one with the futures, man. It was a big trade. It's really set the tone for me today there. We were looking short today. We wrote down the TQQ short. And we're just really proud that we were able to get it right there, that it went up to the upside and that we stuck with that sort of a talk because, you know, our first trade was bad. And I mean, it's about bouncing back, right? We talk about how much do you want to lose on, you know, early ideas, you know, and I talked about this yesterday, a couple days ago. It's like our first couple trades, we always, you know, get excited that there's going to be like this monstrous move, but then it's pretty choppy. Like we gave examples about Palantir. We gave many examples of Tesla and things like that, where the first move is not necessarily the true move. And then you get a retracement back up and then the flush or then the rip, whatever. We've seen that day after day, time after time. And today it happened one more time right there because it came into the 200 period. And now your boy, as Neil was talking about, looking for that big trade, your boy's got one. It's a chicken dinner winner right there for the TQs. Over 100 handles there at the bottom. So yeah, man, I mean, this is a big trade. So, and then by the way, I was just like, man, I can't give the people this trade. I see that Neil's in it. That's great. But I'm going to get back into Intel my damn self. So boom, there goes Intel right there, man. We put some money on the line there at 38. And there it goes, man. Pretty huge trade there on Intel. I mean, look, it just took me there 3 minutes to get from 38 down to 25s. So 13 cents there, you know, like cake. Boom. What's up, Joe? Where's the pie? I think he just went to go get a slice of pie there. But nice move, up, then down, and we are almost now out of Intel. I just took it from top, basically, of that move into the bottom. And again, like, you know, it's great that I'm glad we stayed focused on the TQs, but there it is right there, 2350. Hood didn't get anywhere near, and the TQs never got up to there, but we still short the 200 period anyways. So right there was a good one as we wait for CoreWeave. So yeah, man, so far so good. We haven't looked many other places, so I think we should probably start to do that as I'm just going to rest on the futures now. I think this could be a good move the rest of the day. So we'll wait to see on that one, man. My next bid, though, in the 70s, then 50s for this. So yeah, big, huge trade there. With the futures, and we're both short Intel. I mean, I hope we can find something else.
I mean, Wolf just caught another. I mean, it went from 3 to 290. It looks like it's sort of trending down. I'm going to get back in if this goes back up to the $3 level. It's a very tight range for a very volatile stock. That's the best way to put it. Tesla's breaking down. We already went over that. The other, the name I'm now watching, because we had a lot of short opportunities and ideas, but nothing came to the upside to give us a fade. Palantir. That's lower highs. We never got into that 91 area at all. Intel's now breaking down again. So I'm holding through low of the day. Someone asked, where's the next stop? 23 and then 2280. So I wanted VWAP in here, but we were able to play it into prior lows. So we'll see for the next available pop. We'll get it. Right now, it's just a hold. As I said, Palantir absolutely, yeah, that's now breaking lows of the day here on PLTR. And try to get back into Wolf, because I think that one could absolutely plunge. But for now, eyeballs on PLTR. We never picked up iBit either, but at this point, you want to hold on to the shorts that you got, I think. I don't want to short any lows as we're pressing through the bottom, allow the pressure to release, and then try to get it back to the upside off of VWAP or any key level that you can find for sure. There were some small cappers that we're looking at too. I'm now only looking at Wolf or CoreWeave at this point, because that LXRX, no good, no dice there for me. It just didn't really set up all that well. I wanted some strength in a small capper or just ridiculous, obvious price action like Wolf.
All right, man. Yeah. Not much. Oh. Man, we're 100. This is just
awesome.
So Neil, we're talking about holding on to shorts, my guy, and this is an absolute monster right here. I mean, we're just really happy, and I don't know, man. It's Friday. It's just good vibes all around. You know, like now 140 handles, and the market's dropping. And the best part about this is you know, you stick your neck out a little bit here, and when it works like this, and you can see the moves, you know, like we're really, really reading the board, like. Real clear, man. Kind of like when yesterday, Tyler O'Neill, again, Neil,
6 years in a row.
6 years in a row, and you were like, that was a ridiculous bet, and I agree with you. But that's the thing. It's like, you never know. The Jays had a better pitcher on the mound, got absolutely destroyed. That guy defeats all odds. Yeah, so it's like, you know, sometimes you stick out, and
He's
we
Canadian,
did.
by the way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, crazy. And we, you know, we stuck it out there today. We put on a big futures position. We're willing to lose it not all, but lose the whole position if we keep on going. And look what happened right there. Oh, we must have just had a keystroke error there and got a little bit more shares short there on the TQs. We don't necessarily want to do that. What did I just do there? Oh, it was nothing. Okay, good. So my price doesn't really change. We actually just had I meant to get out, and we actually got a little bit more short there. So we'll get that out right now. There. Okay, so yeah, just it's good when this is going on, man. We talked about it. It's all on the sticky note. Shorts everywhere. We don't even have a long other than CoreWeave written down there, and that's going to change. There it is, man. It's 140 handles in the money. And then also, we also have a great trade with Intel. So Intel right there, again, as it was written, and as Neil has it as well, right there. Big time trades there on Intel is. Oh boy, man, wow. All right, I don't even know what to do right there right now, because now these futures are really, Neil, really tanking, man. This is, to me, the trade of the month for me by far. P&L wise will be the trade of the month. And there it goes, man, down into $60. We nailed that one huge. So I don't know where Intel lies on your board,
23 is going to be the out for me.
Yeah, we just covered
Intel.
some more. Oh boy.
We risked 7 cents on it. It's about to give us 40. Any second now. So Intel, and the best thing about it is it's set up really cleanly on Intel, so we're able to grab it. It makes obvious sense. You get a little head and shoulders action, but I'm jumping out in front of 23. I'm sitting at 5, but if it curls here, you know what, we're going to back off. The bid's a little bit weak, so I can now, actually I'm just going to trail it to 10s. That's a better play. Instead of sitting on the bid, we'll let it ride, trail it to 10s. This was the target area for sure regardless, and we're going to hold on to that. If it breaks 10 like it just did, then we're out. We're just going to give it a little bit, wanted to give it a little bit more room to be able to fall, but that pretty much worked exactly the plan. So I think that trade speaks for itself. As we just had another crazy wick down, 1260 is now on the bid at Mara, so Mara is in the target zone. Is what it is, missed a short, don't care, next move. It's close enough to the $12. I'm starting looking mean revert on MARA. You know, Bitcoin's been moving to the downside pretty heavily, but this has had all kinds of support down here on Mara. So we're going to have this at some point to the long, but it's either at 12 or breaking this downward trend. The only other entry I'd like would be a capitulation candle. So if it does like one of those heavy wicks underneath on big volume and then tries to reverse, that's the other way I get into it. I mean, if you can't figure out the downtrend on this, it should be pretty easy to see. I hesitate to even draw a trend line because realistically, it's obvious when you look at it.
Yeah. All right. So we're like, we're getting out of this near these lows. I mean, I don't know, how much lower we're actually planning on going here. We've already sort of broken below, there goes the NASDAQ. Like this is, and again, it's exactly what we talked about on the note. We talked about this at 8:30. We talked about this at 9. I talked about this at 9:30. To the point where my very first trade was this short. Like that's how short we thought this market was going to be. And to the point there where obviously we just covered now on Intel. We have 25% left of this position as well. So we're going to go 2 for 2 huge today. Today's been a really good day, needless to say. I hope for you guys as well. It sucks for the personal account, but I'm not, I'm here to trade, hopefully entertain. I mean, this is the thing. It's tough. We always talk about this all the time. We trade and we sit here and have this discussion. And sometimes it is pretty busy in the market, and it's hard to catch all of the moves. But, that's why I'm just sticking with the names that we have and watching them, just
we haven't indicated
fall into place right there. And honestly, man, I don't know. I took to heart, a lot of you guys want to get some more small cap names, right? I mean, the midday show does that. We used to do a little bit more of that here, but I've really stuck to the main names that I always trade. And then there was requests about futures trading and whatnot. And ever since then, I've just really flipped over into this. And it's been an absolute, Neil, this is 200 handles now in the money. And we're getting lower and lower. And you don't just find these opportunities everywhere, right? There's, you have to be very specific with what you're looking at. And for me, the TQs is just that, it's that sort of guide into the market. It's literally the market. So why am I battling with different names every day when I can sometimes just trade this, the TQQs? So that's what we're going to do now. And it's been just a great turnaround story, and really happy to have evolved into this kind of a trader right in front of everybody. You know, so again, trading better now than I ever have. And I want to thank everybody for the continued support in this journey, right? And as we all make it together. So yeah, man, big time right now. Intel, 35 cents in the money. Again, these are the only two names that we posted. We posted the futures and Intel. So that's it, man. And then we have Robinhood that never got there, and we'll wait for CoreWeave. You said the indicated open is soon.
We actually, well, it's on the, no, it's not soon. It's on the board for the first time today. So we told you that nothing could happen until you actually saw CoreWeave on the locator. This is an infinitesimally small imbalance right now, so open interest is 400,000 shares only, but it's showing you $50 at least as an indicated open price. So that's not egregiously far away from the IPO issue. So I think that's at least reasonable. I will be looking at the long as it's at that range, but and a lot can change in a couple of minutes here. Well, I mean, probably in a couple of hours, let's be real. All right, so the next trade I'm hunting for, I want to try to get a clean entry like we did on Intel, but it'll be a trend reverse or $12 on Mara. Nick W, for a beer for heading into the weekend. Great look on Intel, and you're waiting on CoreWeave. Everyone's waiting on CoreWeave. Yeah. You might want to have a brew while you wait, because this could take a while. I'm expecting this thing opens up after 12 o'clock. I think I will have eaten lunch by the time we get this thing to open up for us. You're looking to buy coin off high 170s for a swing. Good luck rest of the day. Thanks to you too, Sean. Coinbase.
Thanks to me, yeah.
When you said Coinbase, anyways, when you said Coinbase was down as much as it was,
yeah,
I was actually starting to think about load. This level right here on coin, 177 on coin, is an obvious sort of spot. That's more of a day trade, though. Like, I don't know that you want to support a falling knife in front of a level like this when it's lower highs. I think the first time it bounces better than the second time, but as a day trade, the 177 makes a little bit of sense to me. I think when you're trending down like this, you need a little more convincing. Like, there's all kinds of room down to 140. I think if it sees anything near 110, I'd probably be a buyer of coin. Actually, I do own coin. I'd be a buyer of more Coinbase. Let's be real.
All right. Yeah, so we're, thanks, Nick W. I mean, that means a lot, obviously, to all of us here. You know, making that $1,000, like, you know, you should be on our floor, I would think, with that kind of money. All right, so TQQs, again, we're still waiting for that. Intel, we're still in this trade as well. That just bounced off 23. Let's see if we can get even lower than that. 23 and me, I mean, maybe 22 and me. We'll see if we can get lower on that one. We're still in this. I mean, I don't have any... All right, well, you know, the more I talk about it, you know, I was going to say I don't have any ideas where to get out. So let's just piece it out little by little all the way down in. You know, it's going to be a good one, and we're looking for more, so let's go over. We still do have JP Morgan. Unfortunately, we didn't get out of any of that when that ripped up to the upside. I think we're still long around 236, 237 on this. No, way lower than that. Down here, whatever the 200-period moving average is. I took it in the CDR in Canada, so a little bit different. I'm not sure of the exact price, but I know the date. So it was the second, so it was right here, whatever this is. So 228, sorry, not 238. So right into there. It was the second day before, like I was like, oh man, what have I done? Because it went lower and then it started to pop back up. So yeah, man, like we're still in this one. So that kind of boo you on that. So we'll wait to see what's going on with JP Morgan. I mean, a great bounce off that 200 period. It looks like we could get back into there. I mean, that's the price target I had for Hood, was to get, whoa, okay, Robinhood down 6% today, yuck. So that was sort of a target for me on Robinhood, was to get back into 36, 37. So I really do like that there. Oh man, Neil, these trades are just becoming, I mean, I hope most of the trades are going to be epic ones, but they're not always. But look at Intel. Man, like, here we go. Intel downside, and we've had this, man. This was one that, even when it was up here, I was like, yeah, I should take it, but we stay with the TQs. Look, the TQs will be 200 times or more than that, what we would have made on Intel, but at the end of the day, nice move down in there. We're starting to cover. Intel might be a cover here. What about if we get back above like 2310? I don't know. What was your best cover on that?
Wait, I trailed it to 2310.
So you're at 2310. So
50 to 10.
Okay, so we're still in. Okay, so we have the same trade.
Yesterday's low was 22.8.
Right.
So there's still a little bit of room. LXRX, I'm shorting back into prior lows. That's 60 cents. This one started to. Ideally, this would have been a long, but what are you going to do? It's stair-step to the downside. I said I was looking at it. I wanted it to break out that top, but there's what you want, and then there's what happened, and it ended up breaking down. So I think it's a pretty obvious structure here. Short into the high 50s and then try to grab this. I think I had to pay for locates. I'm like very certain I had to pay for locates, but they were so cheap that I don't really remember what they were. Probably like 1/8 of 1 cent or something ridiculous like that on LXRX. And then the same thing I'm looking for on Mara. Nothing has changed. It's still heading down, but it just made a little bit of a bottom here, and like a very, very little bit of a bottom, and is attempting to close breaking the trend line. If it's able to do so, I'll take the first shot at a long on MARA. That's at 12.5. That's a good spot. I mean, $12 would be ideal, but if it can hold this low here, then I'll take a shot at this for a mean revert. And VWAP's always a target. As a matter of fact, I'd probably reverse if we even sniffed VWAP today on MARA.
Yeah, I mean, that was one that we had added to our discussion, but yeah, that started to go. I mean, I had really thought that Bitcoin could hold that, so yeah, it doesn't look like it wants to. All right, yeah, let's just check our scanners out here. Roblox, maybe. Let's have a quick look over there and see what's going on with Roblox. There today, $60. I haven't looked at this name in a while, man. I still do hold a small piece. We did talk about that. We had bought this basically near this time. I think it was like May or June of last year, gearing up for the summer and just trying to say like, everyone's on Roblox, and I know that it's costing me a lot of money throughout the years, so, but we'll make that back. This is just one of those stories again. Same way about how we were in Lulu, basically like close to its IPO, and the same thing with many of these names. Just like Apple, man, like the very first day I got the Apple iPhone, I went in and dropped in exactly what I paid for the phones into the stock. Okay, here we go right now for TQQs. We are starting to get to the downside again. Come on, man, switch over. Let's go right there. All right, so nice little downside push. We were covering down here, but oh man, look at that wick down there in the low 40s. All right, we'll put another piece out. I'm getting out of like 2% every time right now, because this is starting to, there it is, we get the 44s. This is starting to get obviously, you know, really interesting now with the NASDAQ down 1.5%. I mean, how low can we go, you ask? Let's double check. There we go. We had actually talked about this a couple days ago, because I remember looking at this chart saying that, you know, the next area here is right where we're coming through. Looks like that would be a good cover spot. So that's 472.80s. So that's going to be on the Qs. If we're going to look on here, and let's just call up the TQs quickly to have a quick look to see, because that's what we're in. So we're actually, yeah, man, like we're pretty much there. That's 59.08, like 30 or 40 more cents, and we basically have this whole move. So that would be great. And then the next level after that is much lower. Then you're looking at 58s, 58.20s. So it's looking dangerous out there for these longs. That is for sure not a great call in. Oh boy, Neil, man, we stay with the trade. We've got those hands right now. Intel now at day's low, 45 cents now on this trade. So man, we have two big ones here, man. The TQs, and it's just about being focused. You know, be focused on what I was doing there. We decided that enough was enough. We waited for that bump up. We should have been short there on Intel. Instead, we're short right now. Bye-bye. So that's really working out. And let's get out of another piece right now, as we're 240 handles now in the money on this trade. So yeah, look, it's going to be a good day. We're at our day's goal. Let's see if we can get this a lot more. It's only 10:20.
Yeah, it's way too early to call it quits, that's for sure. But always about what's next. I did grab into LXRX, as you'll be able to see on the position board, and we're still patiently waiting for Mara to revert. There's another name here. While we're waiting for Mara, I have it up. Palantir on the 15-minute. Obviously, a lot of stocks did not give you the ideal short entry, at least myself, the ideal short entry that we wanted outside of Intel. A little bit of Wolf, but Palantir 85 and Palantir 82. Those are two places that I'd look for a mean revert. Down 5%, not saying that that's too much, but you're now extending away from VWAP. The trend from VWAP is what I care about. The day-long trend is going to be way too shallow, but Palantir making a little bit of a turn. Looks like it wants to make its curl before anything's happening over in MARA. It is 10:20. Let's go have a look at the small cap recap.
Here is the IWM. This is sharply to the downside. I want to talk about here that increase in volume on the second last 15-minute candle we had. We saw with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 a little bit of a drop, then a pop, and then another drop. IWM didn't really have that pop, and I think it's really important to remember that the Russell 2000 and these small caps are very rate sensitive. So we got higher than expected prints for the inflation estimates, both aspects of the inflation expectation print for University of Michigan. That's not going to be a great look for the IWM and the small caps, as you can see. Let's start here with MLGO. No new catalyst on this one. Definitely a bit of a drop. A lot of the small caps are going to have that just due to what's happening in the market. But MLGO yesterday had Wimi Hologram Cloud, another small cap, announced that they've basically increased their stake in the company to 67.5%. MLGO also has about a 4.7 million share float, about 40% short float, and they are one that has a lot of retail interest. Then we've got TMC, the metals company here. This one about an 8% short float. They did beat here a gap EPS for their earnings report. Another small cap earnings name here that's going to be Sensei Biotherapeutics. They're doing very well in the day, especially compared to the other small caps we just saw. Sensei is a penny stock trading about 60 cents right now. And they did report a slight decrease here in their losses per share on a year-over-year basis. Seems to be pretty well received. They also said they have a cash runway into Q2 2026. Good look there for SNSE. Theme of today is going to be a lot of earnings-related small caps. Back to you.
All right, the theme right now is going to be trade the pools. So in just a couple seconds, we'll have that up and you'll be able to see what's going on. Yeah, we got that right now. Capped losses. Look, man, if you're at Trade the Pool, I hope you shorted Intel with us today and I hope you shorted the market because you're graduated. So right there, our friends from Trade the Pool are back here to Trader TV Live. Trade the Pool is a game-changing platform that caps your risk while giving you the opportunity to trade real shares using, you guessed it, company capital. That means no more risking your savings. Trade the Pool now offers an unlimited trading period during the evaluation phase. Very important. What's up, Stevenson? No pressure, no rushing. Take your time. Perfect your strategy and get funded on your terms. Remember, your losses are capped at a one-time evaluation fee, and your profits are unlimited. Make sure to head to tradethepool.com and start trading now.
Shout out to Trade the Pool.
Yeah, always a shout out to Trade the Pool. And yeah, we take advantage of that here, as you guys know. We'll put on sometimes, you know, bigger positions and you know, be able to use that because we are trading on a prop floor. That's the advantage of being here. Why else would you be here? If you're going to trade small, trade with Trade the Pool, trade with us, but do it early so you don't get, you know, into those shutdown areas where you're like basically clocked out after your first couple days. Work on your trading. You know, this stuff, like I said, man, we post it up. If you're at Trade the Pool, I mean, honestly, just try to find that sticky note, look at it, but get some ideas. We're all posting things. But I mean, like this Intel trade, this futures trade, it all just comes from being patient, understanding, you got to stick your neck out a little bit for these trades, right? And put them on, especially if you're trying to make money. So just be careful with everything and Trade the Pool. We want to thank you, man, consistent sponsor. We are here at Real Trading. So outside of the USA, anywhere outside the USA, make sure you do check out what we're doing here at Trade the Pool because, you know, trading is life for me, that is for sure.
I don't know what's going on over there. I took a shot in pounds here. It did break trend. We'll get in, we'll get out. The risk reward, I liked it. It was 85.4 to 85.1, so I'm risking 25 pennies. VWAP sits about $1.70 higher, so I think if you get any kind of a move, you're gonna get 50, 60 minimum. But that's the kind of trade I'm looking for. Like every single time, just make sure it's on playbook for you. As I said, like that's what essentially you're trying to do. Sometimes, Mara finally broke trend as well. So Mara, we're gonna get into this. It actually broke higher and broke the trend, and I didn't want to chase it. So I'll give you that. There it is. Like it broke the trend line. Didn't want to chase it up here, but it's not a huge difference. It's just a matter of if you're hitting 63 with a stop underneath 50, that's 15 pennies. Or I kind of want it down here. Ideally, I get it faster and get the middle price 57 and then break it to 50. Like if I'm going to lose on the trade, I want to lose less than 10 pennies because VWAP sits up there at 40 cents. And to me, that's how you should be grading trades. Like when you make a trade, how much did you risk to make whatever you made? That's what ends up mattering in that particular case. So I'm going to risk about 8 pennies in here. If we do get into VWAP, I want to be all out or maybe just holding on to like 5% if we get to VWAP. I'm going to get my orders out there and see what happens. Bitcoin, and this is sort of the other thing. I mean, we're probably not going to moon it unless Bitcoin holds, but Bitcoin confirmed the low as well. So it's one of the reasons I have Bitcoin up. Oops, want to go the other way. one of the reasons I have Bitcoin up is you're holding that support. But if we lose the bid, I would expect you're probably going to get faded out there on Mara. And we liked it short, but it's one thing to like it short. It's another thing to have an entry on the way down. Like, I wasn't looking break the low. I was thinking trades like yesterday where you had to wait for the short the pop situation on just about everything. I think today's particular case is going to be a little bit different. AMD, I don't want to say we're too far to the downside, but 100 on AMD is actually a level that we're going to be looking out for. So I'm only in Mara. It is a complete mean reversal trade. We're not at $12 yet, so I would still take another shot. Even if we break the low, Mara's at 12.5, not $12. So I would take another shot at this, about 30, 40 cents lower if we are able to get down there. But the market, it's a free fall Friday at this point, and the market continues to go. This hasn't made a fresh bottom. That's what I like to see on a mean revert. If it's making fresh lows, you shouldn't still be in it.
We just went and got some water. So hydration, yeah, let's do Hydration Nation. I don't really have too much to say, man. I mean, Intel is now 70 cents in the money, and we still got on 20%. I have a little bit of a drink here. Yeah, vacation, man. I would love to take a vacation. I'll have to take some time off, but not when the market's doing this. I think that would be a little irresponsible, but yeah, taking time off is always something good. I think that, we've talked about that. What's up, Nick W? Look, man, I mean, it's just, I don't know, Sharif. I mean, these futures are now 260 we have the high, it's just a pre-market high. Like, we want to just do more of this. Like, when I start to see this kind of stuff happening, it's like we could do, and we do. I mean, yesterday was a great day. We talked about that. And, we just follow it up. Like, this is what it's all, really all about. And again, everyone's going to have different strategies, right? Like, Neil took this one. We wrote down 23.50. We should have took it. And then Neil covered at 23.10. Now it's all the way down to 23.70. Looking for other opportunities. Like, we could have, this is a good trade, but you could re-short this. Like, just as much money has been made there. Like, you could get on this train late, and I did. Like, I was like, oh man, why didn't we do it? Why didn't we do it? We waited for it to pop up there, and then we just struck, and then boom. Right? There's the fall. So, like, you're never too late. I mean, it's just like these futures trades. Like, the other day, Obi was like, oh, do you ever add to any of your positions? This looks like I added there, but I said that was a mistake. That was 150 handles ago. Like, that was a mistake to add right there for me. And we covered it immediately, but it turned out to even be better than taking this. Yeah, you said crypto. Yeah. Yeah, that's all good. So all the way to the downside right there as we continue to go. So that's 59 flat now. So now we're right back into those levels that we had just talked about again. And I'm interested to see Mara. I didn't even realize that's at 1250. So there's lots of stuff happening. There it is right now. Let's get some covers down because the TQs are right here right now. So we'll cover this, and then, we'll cover more of it right now. We are still in. We're only in like less than 10% now because we've just been taking it out. But what a dandy of a trade that was right there for the TQQs. All right, without any further ado, it's a Crypto Minute.
It is indeed time to talk some crypto. And usually here we look at the daily chart for Bitcoin or the 15-minute chart. I want to look at the 5-minute because we're coming into quite a bear flag here on BTC. We get this double top right around the US Open here with the second top coming in at 930, around 85.5. Now here we are consolidating near 84,000. Lots of weakness in crypto. If you've seen the MSTR chart, sharply red on the day, trying to bounce off that $300 level. I'll switch to the 1 day here for Bitcoin. So you can see here too, BTC almost breaking this uptrend that we've been in since the mid-March lows. It is worth noting as well here, I was seeing Crypto Quant and its researchers apparently saying that the top 5 cryptocurrencies have lost a cumulative $660 billion in market cap since earlier this year. So more than $500 billion being lost in crypto market cap from the peak of 2025. Certainly something to be aware of here. Lots of weakness still in this space. And speaking of the overall crypto space, what is everything else doing? Ethereum, nicely red here today, down about 6% and below that 1900 level. XRP, 5% to the downside. BNB, 1.5%. Solana, 5.5%. Dogecoin, 6%. Cardano, almost 5%. So lots of weakness in this space. Bitcoin actually looking less weak from a percentage basis than a lot of its peers. Back to you.
I mean, Bitcoin has been holding up better for a while. I mean, the chart of ETH is absolutely disgusting when you look at it. The outflows of that are pretty crazy. We had a super chat in here I wanted to get to. The real DC, Tesla's dumping. By the way, still same thing. Mara heading it's sideways off the bottom, so as the futures make lows, it continues to hold the bottom. So we're in the revert. We got the orders out. Dumping Tesla. Any way can the federal government prop it up somehow besides the obvious White House sales pitch? Also, how far can it dump? In terms of propping it up, there's not that much they can do. Like, even if you give some contracts for the cyber car, like, this is a sentiment thing, and it's also been a valuation thing for a while. So I don't think it's something that will get propped up in that regard. But the trend is unbroken. You just lost the 50 period. I think first stop, I was looking at it this way. Prior support to resistance, 250 on Tesla first stop. And then if you get any lower, then your 220 level that held before. But I've already said this. I sold some of the 220s that I bought, and I would not look to get those back in until we make another fresh low. Because I think you got to wait this one out on Tesla until there's something very distinct about this trend breaking, and it never did. It got to the 200 period, and did we break above? No. So you're still headed to the downside on Tesla. Is it unreasonable that this stock could get back into like 180 or 170? I don't think that's too crazy on Tesla. So I want to have some powder dry for that opportunity. You know, could be wrong. Like, I've sold before, and then it just goes to like 350. I'm still waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm forever long. So, the only thing I'm going to try to get out of is talk about this. Is some of the swing accounts. So I'll still, I'm still in Tesla. So we're still in Tesla from time, but it doesn't matter. It's unrealized gains, right? Just like what we have right now on Intel. This is now 75 cents, Neil, in the money to the downside, down to 22.60s. So I just put a stop. Like, if we break, no, my stop, wrong price. That's why. All right, so 22, I was going to put this right here, 22.75. So 22.76 break, and we are out on that one. So we've only, we've only traded two names today, Intel and the TQs. So other than that, man, still waiting to go. We can look at, you just looked at Tesla.
Well, I'm looking at Tesla right now.
All right, let's look at Rivian right now. I mean, you've looked at a few names. I don't know if you wanted to go over. We're right here, Intel, TQs. I know you were in Amazon, SMCI maybe?
I haven't traded.
Oh, no, okay. Rivian right here. Okay, CoreWeave right now indicated $46. Rivian with a pullback down in today from yesterday's huge move up to $13, back into $12.40. So, you know what? Like, the futures are going lower. Like, we're just getting filled here on the way down. This has been like a month changing kind of a move here. For what we've been doing here. So it's just a really nice move to the downside. We could check out Lulu. Yeah, thank you so much, Joe. But down 15% Lululemon. I mean, we talked about it continuously having that move, a continued move because it was down more. The implied move yesterday was 8%. And we opened the day up about down 11 or 12. Then we continue to go. So there's that fade into VWAP. I mean, you would have lost there, but that only went to 303. Like, I don't know if you would have got stopped out. We didn't even go anywhere near the top of that. So right into there, man, 306.70, 307, a good area. But just looking at Lulu, it doesn't look like you're going to get that. Wow, man, 280 handles now as we're going lower. The market's going lower here, so watch out now. But there's Lululemon right now, 290. So, this could be a bounce level. We sort of talked about some of that as you zoom back out on Lululemon. So right into there. I don't know. I mean, you're sort of picking at straws, trying to find bottoms all the time, but this could be one right there. Get all of this garbage out of here. So it's going to have to hold 280. I think it's a 3-day rule on Lululemon. Give it some time. Lululemon right now getting clocked as there, and we'll go throw it to Neil in a second. But the futures right now, 300 handles now in the money on that trade as Neil's battling with Mara, and we've got eSignal to talk about right now. So let's go.
Yeah, eSignal, everybody, 1 month free. That's what you need to know. It's a fantastic platform. They're waiving fees so you can try it out, try to elevate your charting game, your trading game with the right platform for you. Back testing, forward testing, every indicator out there. The ability to hook up with your broker for trading right through eSignal. They've also got API access if you want to automate your trades. Things like the imbalance locator available to you, every single market you can imagine and all the equities out there with real-time, reliable data. First month free, so try it out. No harm, no foul. Scan that QR code you see in front of you and trade smarter, not harder, as they say over at eSignal. Shout out to them. Bit of a capitulation candle happening in Tesla. I mean, I'm in MAR right now, but the market keeps on going lower and it just keeps on going sideways. So it's holding the low, but it's not really going yet, so there's nothing crazy happening there. Tesla might have just done a bit of a capitulation candle down at, but I was looking for 258. Yeah, a little closer to 250. I wanted underneath 60 on the way down here. I thought we'd get into these levels from a few days ago. And then the other one I'm looking reversions on is Palantir. So right now we're in Mara. Palantir tried at 85, and Palantir has levels at 82, and then 83, and 84, as you can see on that 15-minute chart. So it's trying to put one in off of 84 as we speak. Right now I'm just looking for the reversion trade. Bit of a bottoming tail candle setup now instead of the reversion on PLTR. And the indicated open keeps on getting worse and worse here on CoreWeave. Like it was 47, down to 46, now to 45. The issue is at $40. 10% above the issue is, generally speaking, really bad for a tech company, generally speaking. So I don't know that I'm taking the opening print on this. If it opens up, I'll look for a big, massive level at the first even dollar and trade it off that. But if there's not that much excitement about it, I don't want the opening print per se, where you're automatically plugged into wherever it happens to be. I don't want to get caught with like 45, 90 entry and then have to give it to 45 even. So no opening entry for me on CoreWeave. If it opens up, we'll play it by ear.
All right. Yeah, I'll go different on that. I'm going to take it. No, I'm taking it no matter what. So it's got to happen before. I got to leave at 11. I won't keep that pending in there. But I don't think it's going to open before 11. So we'll keep it in there.
The current open interest is paired volume.
I didn't even look at it.
It's 500,000 shares. There's no way it's opening anytime.
Yeah.
500,000 shares paired. That's nothing.
Yeah. So
nothing.
All right, and how we can get all that. So by the way, we did cover in 1 second here. We did cover what we're talking about. The tap, we can see it. So 45. So if you ever want to ask us, we are getting it in our ear, and it's all over the place. So you can get that number from a lot of different sources, but we have it right there. So that's 45. If you are with us on Real Trading, that's a platform where you can see the TAP, the theoretical auction price. So any name that goes into a halt, you'll be able to see that. Intel, man, still bleeding, down 80 cents right now, all the way to the bottom. Like, you want to talk about a call? That's one right there on Intel. And thank you so much to whoever was in the chat there. There it is right now. I haven't seen you too often. I'm sure you've been here for a while. The beautiful gate. Thank you so much for the talk on the Qs trade. It is what it is on that one. And then you always wish you held more. I don't see it anymore, but thank you to Russell Jackson. 40, I think it was it 44 months or 70? I missed it. We'll go find out how many months you've been around Russell Jackson there. But thank you so much for continuously supporting the show, Mr. Russell Jackson. What's up, Adara?
We want to go over this GameStop story. Not sure if it's really going to be moving anything here, but it's worth noting. I'm just seeing here on X, apparently GameStop is facing potential trading curbs here on the New York Stock Exchange after apparently the short volume has surged by 234% in 24 hours. So significant surge in short volume, I'm hearing here on GameStop, could lead to some potential NYSE trading curbs. I'm just reading that catalyst. I think worth noting there. But let's talk here about the sector board, which is decidedly red. Technology services incredibly weak here. Meta, Netflix, Palantir, Oracle, Google, Intuit, ServiceNow, all really weak. Electronic technology here, Boeing down about 2.5%, AMD down about 3%. The mega caps here, though, a little bit less weak than what we're seeing in tech services. Apple down about 1.5%. Same with NVIDIA. Broadcom down just under 1.5% today as well. Finance incredibly weak. Lots of weakness in consumer services, retail trade, producer manufacturing, transportation, process industries, and commercial services. Where is there a little bit of strength? Utilities is nicely to the upside today. Consumer non-durables looking pretty good. And health services as well. UNH, green today, guys. So a little bit of strength to be found, but not a ton. Back to you.
Not a ton.
Yeah, that's interesting about
strength.
I don't know what curbs they're going to be putting on GME, but we'll see. They've done stuff like that's happened before, but
Sure, yeah.
I don't think they'll do anything like what happened last time, like the nonsensical. Oh, you can't trade out. Like it was Robinhood. I think people couldn't trade out. That kind of stuff. I don't know if it's going to happen. We'll play it by ear. I've been a little bit skeptical when they do things like, oh, you can't short this stock. You can't. There's rules in place for all of this. As long as you're not naked short selling, then who cares, in my opinion. But anyways, Mars starting to bounce a little bit here. It just got up through the 60s. I'm offering in front of 70, 80, and 90, which is going to be VWAP. So while the market is trying to bounce, IBIT's also making a move, so good. Obviously, if IBIT wasn't bottoming, Mara wouldn't have any chance. It would be toast. Tesla did a nice little bounce here as well, so it's looking pretty solid. The name that I want to fade, or short on the way back up, I'm going to go back to the well on AMD. It's actually not too far away from the 105 in VWAP, so it's not going to take much for it to get there, and then we look for the fade in that. Still not much of an update on CoreWeave. It's the same thing, now 45,
15.
It's not really doing anything. I'm anticipating like 12:30. 12:30, 1 o'clock is probably going to be more along the lines of what we see with CoreWeave. And then one more for you. I'm going to throw up GameStop here. Crazier things have happened. GameStop, it hasn't broken today's low, regardless of whatever you restrict or whatever they're talking about here. The market is absolutely bleeding, and it eventually bounced off 21. 21 was where we were talking about the last week where it bounced. You held that low. You got a higher low. If it breaks out the top, crazier things can happen. Maybe like a little bit of a mini squeeze. It's a pretty big gap from yesterday. Remember, it was 25 VWAP short yesterday, right about this time. So this one can take out the high. Why not? Usually when things are at the worst or the shorts are feeling their best is when something like this has a chance to squeeze. So double bottom, breakout high, just look for a scalp into next resistance. But it has to get going. Anytime I hear a headline like that, it just means something could happen on it. That's all. We got our offers out on Mara. I'm playing it into the 13 range. I think it's a fade at VWAP, so we're getting out and looking to reverse short if we do get into 13 on MARA. Only got the first profit take so far.
All right, let's try to figure out what's for lunch. All right. Today's lunch seems pretty good. I mean, this has been a positive experience, I think, for many people around here lately. We do have miso glazed salmon. I think that should be okay with wok tossed noodles and veggies, garlic broccoli. I think there's an Asian slaw. Miso glazed salmon, wok tossed noodles and veggies, garlic broccoli with Asian slaw. That is what's for lunch. I think that sounds pretty good.
There's only 3 vegetables I don't eat. It's broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and
I'm not a fan of the sprouts.
Cauliflower.
Broccoli, I'm loving broccoli.
Although cauliflower, if you season it right, I'll probably eat the heck out of that too. But
yeah, exactly.
I don't like broccoli. I don't know what it is,
like
man.
Broccoli?
I've never
especially
Chinese,
liked broccoli. Beef and broccoli is like a killer dish for me, anyways. But
okay, in fairness, there are some dishes like a good soup. Sometimes my wife
broccoli cheddar soup.
My wife makes a really good, and I'll eat that in a soup form.
Yeah,
it's raw.
I actually like dipping the raw broccoli in the veggie platters.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Yet I'll eat kale raw, and Brendan's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I love raw kale." That's just weird, but
yeah, raw kale. You're.
No, it is kind of weird.
You won't get me on that one. That's a weird one.
I love kale.
Shout out Russell Jackson right there. Wow, this guy. We just shouted you out. This guy just won 100,000 points or something like that. Right there. Rocket. Shout out to you, my guy. I hope you're having rocket trades. Yo. What's up, Stevenson? My guy is here right now. Shout out to Trader TV Live and the whole crew. Shout out to Obi, Sean, Neil, Adair, Sharif. We can't forget my man, Joseph, of course. You guys helped me elevate my trading skills 100x. Well, that's great, and we like to thank you for that. Thank you for the $10 right there on your super chat, man. And I just really hope that be true. Look, we talk about it. Like, not every day we're all going to be green, we're all going to be red, anything like that. It's about trying to learn, trying to get better every single day, right? And I think that's the most important thing. I hope, you know, I hope you can see the trades. Obviously you can. We've only have 2 trades on, the TQs right there today and Intel. So yeah, man, it's a big day. It's a big day for me. We've been having a great one. I hope it's a big day for you, Stevenson, and I want to thank you for that. You know, we haven't done too much else other than that. I know you had that Intel trade on. You have Mara on right now. So we're just going to wait for all of that, man. And just, again, take, you know, Stevenson, some of the best advice that I can give is just have an idea of what you're trying to do and then just do it. You know, like I'm still holding 20% of Intel, which is pretty impressive. Like normally I'm not in that many shares when it has the maximum move. But look what we have today. I'm taking CoreWeave, I just told you. We have the Intel scalp short at this exact price, and now it's down in the money 80 cents, right? So that's huge. And then the TQs were short. Like this is short, short, short. You know, and we even talked about it here on our post. Well, after the bad PCE, this is shaking the markets. Eyes on, obviously, CoreWeave here, looking to scalp that early for a possible breakdown below. And now we just wait to see what's going on. So, I mean, again, stick with what you're doing. And hopefully over time, and again, everyone has different times, right? I mean, like I said, we just talked about it. We had about more than 100 people, I think, behind us, and OB survived. So 99% failure rate, maybe 95. Maybe there's one person I forgot.
It's somewhere up there. But
yeah, exactly.
The other side of this,
stick with it.
But the other side of the story is, you know, there's one, and I always tell this when we're talking about successive traders. There was a trader who took 1 year to graduate that we know, and outside of the 2 of us, he ended up with like the longest career making money on this floor in a very long time. Maybe there's probably a couple others that might be better than him. But even after he graduated in 1 year, I think maybe 3 or 4 months after that, he was working nights to be able to make things work. His actual breakout came in year 2.5 or 3 or something like that. And then he ended up having a more than decade-long career. So there's, like, all paths are very, very different. Like, there's no one way to be able to do it. There's no one thing to trade. There's no one style to trade.
Right.
You just have to find a pattern that works for you.
I think the benefit that guy had was he's super young.
Well, yes,
no
he was very
dependence,
young.
And lived
difference.
basically on ramen noodles, right? So I think that's what you got to do. And that's what I'm saying, like you got to, it's also about what part you're at in life. You know, I mean.
My ex, and this is when I started trading, who I was with at the time, like I was getting clowned for living at home when I was a trader. And this is when I started making money. And I was like, because it's trading. And my idea was I am going to build up and actually have bank before I commit myself to those things. Because I knew what this game was like because I had people telling me. Well, I mean, it was obvious once you start doing it, but then also I had people telling me that truth, like Sean and some other traders.
I hired you.
So one of the things that's important is understanding that journey is it's not an easy one. There's always going to be ebbs and flows, all that good stuff. We only have about 10 minutes to go. What did I want to go to? It wasn't CoreWeave. Oh, it was SMCI. Just one note on SMCI. Come on, not split adjusted chart. Always have to zoom in and zoom out. SMCI is another name. Like you're starting to get to some capitulation bottoms. The low on SMCI from March is 33. So 33 on SMCI is a level I'm looking at in addition to, we already talked about NEO this morning at 360 if it gets down there. And if Marab loses this bid, I want to take a shot at the $12 level for reversion. It refuses to lose the bid. It's just sort of still going sideways in here. Got one profit take, but if we make a fresh low, I'm out. That's pretty simple over there. So if we make a fresh low, I want to jump out. But yeah, we're not getting any VWAP retracements just yet, so we're having to be very patient. But let's go on over to Adara, and I think we're going to talk about the strength in the, no, we're just going to talk about currencies.
Currencies, yeah.
Unfortunately, there's not really any dollar strength to talk about here today, Neil. We are pushing here below that support that we held decently earlier this week around that 103.8 level. Currently trading, I guess just above that level, but coming into that 103.8 level. Keep an eye on that. We've been able, for the most part, to bounce decently off of these lows we made earlier in the month, but right now it looks like we're trying to reverse some of that. Let's see how this US dollar holds up and unfolds. We did get some PCE data coming through earlier today. That was probably the biggest economic data print we were waiting for. Stronger than expected core numbers on a year-over-year and month-over-month basis. Both of the core prints coming in 0.1% above estimates, but the PCE data for the month-over-month and year-over-year non-core exactly in line with expectations. 10 a.m. we've got some Michigan consumer sentiment data a little bit lower here than expected for the sentiment data and then higher than expected for the inflation expectations. But today, after all is said and done, here's the CME FedWatch tool. Yesterday, about 88% of participants were expecting there to be no rate change during the May meeting. Now, 83% of participants, so 5% of participants from yesterday to today have moved over to expecting a 25 basis point cut. Small change, but notable. Slight change in sentiment. And we want to take a second here to thank our friends at ProfitX. In sports playing, flexibility is everything. At ProfitX, you can see the order book just like a financial exchange. Pick your spot and customize the odds to fit your risk. Why settle for a single offered price when you can set your own? Plus, our mobile interface makes it easy to play on the go. ProfitX, where you call the shots anytime, anywhere. Users can use code TraderTV to get our sign-up offer of 2% cash back up to $300. Back to you.
All right, yeah, thanks, ProfitX. Yeah, we got tuned up on our bets yesterday, but we'll make some more here.
Look, I admitted that I was making homer bets on the Jays. Neither one of those were like rational, great bets, and I didn't even take great. You could have got better odds, but I had taken it early on the Jays. But it's NCAA today.
Yes.
There's a really cool feature that is on that I just turned off.
Okay.
On P Pro 8, and for anyone that's trading, and I'll tell you why I just did this. So there's a feature that if I put an order out and you click on the price level, it'll adjust to that price. When there's an IPO, like right now, CoreWeave, like it'll have these ridiculous prices and you'll have all this like crazy stuff going on. A lot of times I don't want that feature to be on, so I just took it off. I just really thank you to Brankles for pointing it out, because I know like on an IPO, CoreWeave's not going to have any information on it. Doesn't really matter. On an IPO, you don't want a keystroke. You don't want to make any mistakes. You want to use the right order. There was a day, I think it was Kava, it could have been a different one. Everybody had the same essentially long, and even dollar broke, and like half a dozen people on the floor through the exact same stop, through the exact same even dollar. And let's just say most people got out at 20 cents worth of a loss. I got out at 40 cents of a loss because I used a different stop order. So like little things in there are going to matter, because I anticipate if CoreWeave looks good enough or has the right level, I'm willing to risk like 20 to 30% of my month to take that shot, because that's kind of how IPOs go. You take bigger. It's the same, same trade. Like I'll probably be long in front of an even dollar with an even dollar stop and make sure the good R&R is there. But you're just doing it because you're just doing it for a little bit more, because historically it's been that type of a trade. The other thing to keep in mind, the issue price on CoreWeave is $40. It's indicating 45. That means it's going to be it could potentially see in front of that issue price. And if they defend that, that could be epic. A lot of times we've seen that happen before. If the issuers defend that price like they did with Facebook, you just want to look for the long off that. So Mara, again, the only thing that I'm in, it's trying to hold the bottom. I don't know why I keep getting missed by 1 cent here. I'm just sitting right in front of that high, which it wicked to. Maybe I'll move that a little bit down and see if we can't get an actual fill another time. So it's holding the low, at least for now, but not too much action off the bid. Like it got the bottom, it's just not doing much of anything with the bottom on Mara yet. AMD, I still like VWAP. Only have 4 minutes to go. I'm looking for the lower high in here on AMD. That was actually the first place I wanted short. It just didn't set up clean. That was the difference. And like the difference was Intel set up cleanly. And I went station to station on it, which is I'm kind of apt to do. And you know that's my trading style. Sometimes it looks great, and other times it's like, oh, you could have held it. But you just got to stick to what works percentage-wise for yourself. So I don't see Intel as having much of a chance to getting to a resistance level without AMD getting there first. That's just a guess.
So just real quickly here with only 4 minutes to go. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to cancel the CoreWeave. Hopefully we'll be able to be back here like around 11:30 and then hit that for the long. Just quickly, we're going to get out. This is 71 cents right now in the money. It did go down as low as 90 cents, down in there into 2260s, 2255s actually. So we'll wait. Like now you're getting into the into the 50 period moving average. So again, I'm actually... Like, I'm really happy. We've only traded 2 names, but I'm really happy with the Qs today, obviously, as that's going to be P&L number 1. But, you know, this Intel trade is actually, so there's the Qs. Like, we're covering more here. Like, wow. It's at the day's low right now. Like, I don't even know. I mean, we might as well put another bid. This is now it's been 300 handles. This is our best fill down here at 50, and it's right back. But I think that this is my best trade really today because it was a level that we discussed. The Q's trade I had to use the Spidey sense, but this one was a level that was clear. We both had it. It's a good trade. I think it was easy to explain and take. So, and then the hold really was what was good, man. I mean, normally I would have got out at 23 there, but it really hasn't given any sort of a retracement play for me. We could have retraced back there 25 cents and got out because it was the low of 55, but right into there, 22.75. So that's going to be our out. I don't want to push it too much more than what we're doing right now. It has nothing to do with anything. I mean, I want to hold things, but just at these levels again, like look at these futures. We already talked about 59 as possibly there. Oh, I'm at 54s now as possibly being, there we go, as possibly being a stopping spot. But no, it's like right here again, the TQ's all the way at the bottom. So, I mean, big day. We're hoping that happens, and we can continue to go a little bit lower here into this market. So it's a big day over here, and that's about it for me. So we'll just continue to look at it. I've only traded 2 names. I think you're a little bit more than that, but yeah, these are the 2 ones that I'm on. So a little bit of a slow day as far as different names for me, but it's going to be my #1 P&L day of the week. So, and we'll look to add that there at the end. I don't know how your day's looking, but it's been pretty good.
You guys
over
all
here.
saw Amazon this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and everyone has their own,
What's up with Amazon?
own style. Like Amazon got me this morning. We love that one of the shorts. I'll be red on Amazon, and that's the difference on today. No question asked. But it's just not my style to hold it.
You know what
Like,
that reminds
I'm
me
not
of?
holding it to 200 when I'm short at 98. I'm like, we'll be patient and we'll wait to get back in. And yesterday, patience was the way to go. Today, if you were impatient on Amazon, then you shorted it well before it pressed higher, then you would have worked. But it is what it is. Like, I could have gotten back in here on VWAP. There's one more thing. And I said this the other day, but ARM, so ARM is flat bottom. No, I literally wrote down just to remind myself in case I get distracted by CoreWeave that ARM is breaking this support, and I need to make sure that I have my stink bid in underneath $100 for next week, because this is a big level on ARM. I'm contemplating whether I might actually try the short through 109 as a day trade, but I'm talking about my long term, where I've been trying to add to a position in ARM incredibly patiently on the way downside here. But now that you're losing support, I need to have a bid out in front of $90 for the next couple of days. But a 109 break on ARM seems imminent. The only issue I have with it, actually, you know why I'm not going to take it? I just looked over at volume. ARM hasn't yet to do 1 million shares in volume. I don't know what's up with the volume on this stock anymore, but it seems to be relatively dead. So you can't take a breakout or a breakdown on a stock that does not doing any volume. I have to find a better one than ARM. Probably go back to AMD.
So I want to say the same thing there, because what happened to you on Amazon was exactly, I think it was a couple days ago, and on Palantir, it was basically the same thing. It's like, and that's what we're talking about. It's respect to putting on positions, and it's like, I got run over on Palantir, then we had some great trades like we've been having, and I was still red. And it's like, it's that 1 or 2. And it's like what I was saying about the TQs as well. Sometimes, like if that just goes up like 20 more pennies, man, this is a red day and I'm probably not back in it. And it's just like absorbing some of those early hits. I'm with you on all that. But honestly, to take a line that you've said here, it's be wrong, stay wrong, not. And it's like Amazon right there, like to got caught and still holding it, like being stubborn in trading, and that's one thing that I've changed a little bit, is completely different. You ought to get out when you're wrong. Like I was long Palantir 90. I had a break of 96.80. I don't know if you remember.
I remember that.
Yeah, it went all the way down to 93. That was the day I'm talking about. I got killed early, and we were able to battle back, which obviously you'll do as well.
I was short. I was actually short Palantir that
Look
day.
at the market.
Thankfully got out of that one because we were short. Made money on the short, and then it broke back up. You're like, well, it came right back. You held on to some for a bigger move. You got to be able to get out of it.
We just got stopped out on Intel, and there's another example.
Before we get out of here, CoreWeave is actually a sell imbalance.
All right, you know what? Then I got to cancel that.
This is a 300, it's out over 1 million open interest, so 1.17 million open interest on it with 300,000 to the sell side. and it's still indicating 45. So it's not completely impossible that we could actually see this thing open somewhat close to 40. I can't remember the last time we saw a major tech company that was anywhere near the issue price. Usually it's just free money for anyone that got that gets the issue price that's in there. And gets the fortune of getting that free money. Let's go on over. It's past 11 o'clock, guys, so this is obviously going to open up for the midday boys.
Yeah,
so good luck to them and good luck to everyone else out there.
I'm already
good luck
2 minutes
to
late for
CoreWeave.
my dentist appointment.
Oh, so you're not swimming today? The dentist can wait for you, man. You always wait for the dentist. Let the dentist
No, but I
wait
made my
for
appointment's
you.
at 11 because I told it's just next door. I was like, I'm going to be a couple
Oh, it's
minutes
like literally
late.
now. I thought maybe, okay, you have to.
Oh, man. Well, okay,
Hey,
good
let's
job.
go
Yeah,
over
let's get
to
some CoreWeave.
Sharif and Joe. Good luck on CoreWeave. I'm sure we all want to trade it.
Bang! What is up, beautiful?